Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 514. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
It's a sin.
Carlos Romero,
Yo, yo, yo.
and Adam Vale.
Hey, what's up, people? I smell you. I can smell you. The fucking internet. I smell.
All right, we're back with another one. No Rich action tonight or Chris. As for Brett and Brian, who knows? I don't know what's going on with those guys. So, you're stuck with the four of us for
I'm
now.
always amazed that Brian even jumps on because
It's
he's
crazy.
in jolly old England.
Yeah.
It's like 4 in the morning.
Something like that, yeah.
Someone's getting murdered by Jack the Ripper, some shit, and he's over here. Hello, I want to talk to the Americans about video games.
Manny, you know what's funny about the song It's a Sin? I'm actually not familiar with the original one. I just know the Gamma Ray version. That's the one I know. You're muted.
That's an old song. Well, not super old, but I mean, who was it who made the original one? It was they played that on the radio a lot.
Yeah, no, I never heard it. And then when I did hear the original, I'm like, yeah, I think I'll just stick with the Gamma Ray version. It's more metal. Good stuff.
It's got that little chug to it.
Yeah, and you hear Kai Hansen screaming. I don't even know if the original had screaming in it.
No, he has got to add a scream and a solo to it. So
yeah, go listen to Gamma Ray. Gamma Ray's awesome.
I remind you of the whole thing with Hurt, by 9 Inch Nails. That's Trent Reznor. That's a 9 Inch Nail track. But then what's his name did Ring of Fire? Fucking blanking on his name.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash covered it, and people swear, no, what? Johnny Cash would never cover a song. Like, yeah, he did.
I know somebody who thought it was a Johnny Cash original, and he might be on this podcast, and it's not either you or Manny.
Holy shit, Carlos?
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
The music aficionado, Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos, remember when you thought Johnny Cash did Hurt originally? Remember we talked about this. This was years ago.
It was either. So here's the thing. There's stuff that I don't remember. It was either this one or it was either the Tears for Fears song, and it's not Mad World. It was freaking Everybody Wants to Run the World or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was. The conversation you and I had was about Johnny Cash. But the thing is, I understood why you would think that, because people thought, oh, Johnny Cash is old. He must be the one that did it first.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that was your logic. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Man. Brett's in the house, all right. But yeah, no, a lot of people think that, but it's like, no, that's a 9 Inch Nails song. Like when I think about that song, I think about the original one.
And then it was like, and I always get the same thing. It was like, oh, why would he do a cover? It was like, well, he was hurting from when his wife passed.
Yeah.
And that song really related to him. He liked the song, so he wanted to do it.
No, it actually Trent.
You shook, because that's what he said.
There's actually an interview with Trent Reznor, and he's like, yeah, his people came over to me, and they're like, they actually asked for a few songs, from him, and that one was one of them. And he was like, at the time, he didn't want to. He was like, it's weird that Johnny Cash wants to do a song, but he's like, he finally did hear it, and he's like, wow, okay. It changed from a song that from the way he was feeling at the time when he wrote it to sort of be recontextualized, obviously because of Johnny Cash being at the end of his life, being all pretty much like it's a lament, almost like a lament song.
Damn, I could have swore.
Throw down your ballads, but let's not get too deep into it, man. Because we got a lot of questions.
We could get into that on the AMA special.
Yeah, that's right. Next week we could do that if you want.
You can ask us about Johnny Cash.
All right. Let's get into it because we got a lot of questions tonight, bro. And most of them, and I want to give you guys a shout out. I didn't specifically ask you to do this, but you went out and you asked us a lot of Game Award questions. So I appreciate that. Because I was like, fuck, I forgot to tell them that. Because
they smart.
There's been years where I tell motherfuckers ask us Game Award questions and we don't get a single one.
Because this year is probably the most controversial year.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think this year was more monumental. Like I think last year we barely got any. Because it was just whack.
Everybody was all bored. Everybody was all bored to tears by that previous one.
Tears for Fears. All right, man. Let's get into it. And by the way, since this is the last normal throw down your questions, I've removed the limit on the amount of questions. So I'm not gonna do the sponsored bullshit this time. It's just if you guys have some 5 questions, we're answering all 5 questions. Just how it is tonight. All right,
Boom.
illustrated D, and I mixed these up, so I made sure the Game Award questions came up first. All right,
Okay.
illustrated Dio first up. What were the highlights and lowlights of the Game Awards for you? We kind of talked about this on the Thursday show, after the Game Awards. And while you guys answer, I'm gonna pull up a tweet about which ones were my highlights. Who wants to go first?
I'll go
Just have
first.
that
All right,
Ninja
go ahead.
Gate, or you can go. Go ahead.
I felt like Elden Ring was like a huge surprise. Like no
Yeah.
one was expecting anything
Nobody.
Elden Ring. Everyone thought, or everyone
Well,
expected.
we're expecting
they
the
were just-
DLC. That's about it.
Well, they even said they were done with that. Remember, they said no more. No, this is the last one. What's it called? Shadow of the Earth Tree.
Yeah.
That was going to be the last one. So, I thought if they did something, because we did expect From Software to do something, because they suspiciously added the TGA committee suspiciously added DLCs as Game of the Year contenders. So I'm like, so he's just appeasing to From Software and Miyazaki so he can get the scoop. So he got the scoop, but it wasn't the scoop that I was expecting. So it was something that was pretty interesting. No one expected. I'll do the layup eventually with Tony, but other than that, the Shinobi fucking
That was good.
news, that was good. What else?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll go next because I actually listed all this stuff.
Well, let me do the layup then.
Okay, do the layup. And then I'll do the
Virtua
dunk.
Fighter. Tony's been talking about this for fucking decades.
This is true. Ever since Throwdown, and I'm not just talking about this iteration of Throwdown. I'm even talking about the original version of Throwdown. 2012, I've been talking about this shit. And even back then, I was complaining. I'm like, where the fuck is Virtua Fighter? It's been 7 years. That was 7 years back in 2012, bro. So, so happy. But yeah, here's what I got, and you guys feel free to jump in. I listed my favorite reveals. Carlos, you already mentioned this. Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound, Elden Ring, Nightreign. We have a question about that, so we'll get to that eventually. Project Robot, that's what it's called right now. That's Ueda's new game. Anything by Ueda,
yeah.
you already know, son. You already know. Again, these are all mine. The Tekken revealed, Clive Rossfield. Very controversial, by the way. Some people were not happy about that. But they also weren't happy about Noctis either. Anyway, and like you said, Carlos, new Virtua Fighter, and I purposely, like when I tweeted this, not only did I make it like in all caps, but I bolded it too. Like this serious right now. Project Century, the Yakuza game in 1915.
Oh yeah.
Animusha, you already know. And Manny Okami coming back.
Okami too?
Yeah, so those are the ones I got. So yeah, it was pretty substantial announcements, Yeah, it was a good show. Good show. I also there's another one. Just for fun, I want to give a little bit of a shout out to Turok.
Turok, yeah.
Yeah, because I liked the comic books back in the day. So I never played the N64. I didn't own the N64, but Turok is fun. So that's what I got. Manny, anything stood out to you? What was your highlights?
I mean, I can't exactly say there were highlights, but it was nice to see all the stuff that you mentioned. I wasn't like insanely blown away by it, but it was nice to have essentially stuff that was like, okay, they're not just announcing another DLC for something, or hey, look, it's another one of these. But yeah, I mean, I guess Okami, it's nice to see. Was it it's not Shinji Mikami, it's
Ueda.
no, he's not Okami, dude.
Hideki
Kamiya. Yeah.
Hideki Kamiya, where essentially he resurrected Clover Studio, and he's now Clover's, and he'd been sort of keeping this because he's had a active YouTube pretty recently. He's got his own YouTube channel, kind of like the way Sakurai has his, but obviously not spending
Sakurai.
nearly as much, not
Sakurai.
spending nearly as much money as Sakurai was spending on his episodes to make his series. So yeah, so he was sort of keeping that one close to his chest. But I mean, as much as it's nice to see him come back to do Okami, I kind of am more excited to see what new things he's done, because I feel like, Okami's pretty definitive.
Yeah.
The ending of Okami, you save the world, you do your thing, and it's like you kind of don't actually really need a sequel to it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool that it's coming back, but I think it's like I'm more excited as to the prospect of what he would be doing in the future, beyond just doing a sequel to Okami. Ueda, yeah, always cool to see him doing something, because his line of games are just always interesting and unique,
Yeah.
And then yeah, I mean, I think that's probably about it for me. But yeah, it was. I think in all, in general, and we've said this on the show, that that 3 hours of Game Awards was bearable, but a lot more bearable than the previous.
Yeah. The flow kept going well.
Yeah.
That was the other surprise. Go ahead, dude.
This was this is probably the best Game Awards that we've seen. I mean, I think I might be speaking for most of us. It had the most, and let's just be real here. It's a hell lot of member berries. A hell lot of member berries
going on. I mean, the Ninja Gaiden, the Ninja Gaiden thing was cool. It was cool to see that, come back in its way. But I'm not like chomping at the bit for it, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, and even the interesting thing is, we just rolled out a whole bunch of games that we're excited for, but we didn't even mention some of the ones that are kind of probably the most popular. And one of the least ones, but is anticipated, is what's his? I always forget the name of this dude, but the dude that did It Takes Two.
Oh yeah, him. Yeah,
brothers.
Raphael, I think is his name, or something, or Ralph.
Yeah. So every game he makes is a hit.
That's true.
He's making another one, and it's gonna come out, I think, next year. So that one was a good revelation, and also two controversial games, which I guess we'll talk about later. But The Witcher 4 got announced here, and a new IP by Naughty Dog was announced in this. Where, speaking of member berries, the new game from Naughty Dog was announced.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
It's got a member berry central. But
get your Porsche spaceship ready.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But
strap on your Adidas.
Yeah. What about you, Brady? What stood out to you? I know you didn't get to see much of it, but what stood out to you?
I mean, I'll be honest, man. I'm kind of torn. Like, I know that a lot of people, I know that the panel generally kind of thinks like this is the best that we've seen in a while, but also like, I agree, but I'm also less excited than I've been in a while. And I think it's just like, even the stuff that I did see, like Onimushu is coming back. Cool. Am I having any more faith in that than I would a brand new title? Like, all the people who've worked on all of these games, they're member bearing back to us. They don't exist. So like, all of this stuff, like, may as well be like fanfic for all I'm concerned. I mean, like, shit, I just heard somebody I think it was Ubisoft saying, like, you have to understand, like, half the people who are working on these games have never worked on a game before, like, period. So like, it's just, there's so much turnover, and a lot of the people who have made these games, like, their ideas are right now, like, let's go back and dig through all the IPs that people love. The problem is you waited so long to do that none of the people who have made those IPs what they are even there anymore. So it's cool. We're getting a Fable made by another group. The Outer Worlds 2, I'm excited for it. Obsidian has been delivering solid Bs, but like that's it's okay. But I mean, there's nothing here that I'm like, this is gonna be. I mean, except for Nightreign, and even then, I'm a little like, it looks really cool, but also it is definitely this shit's a spin-off. It's not a traditional Souls game, so
Yeah.
it could be great. It could be, I don't know. Like, From Software generally doesn't disappoint, but like, there's a lot here that I'm cautiously optimistic for, but nothing that I think letting myself get truly excited for.
I definitely feel that, Brett.
Okay, good.
I'm not like disappointed, but I definitely a lot of member berries, but I'm not like, oh my god, I need to play this.
Yeah.
We have a question about the Elden Ring game, which we're gonna go into later. So
you mean Elden
tuned.
Knight?
Yeah, because the question asked something that I didn't know about, that what this game actually is. If it's what this question says it is,
Elden Hunter.
We'll get into it. Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but
it's not Monster Hunter.
But if it's what this question is asking, then my interest has dropped to almost zero.
The answer is yes, Tony.
Oh God. Oh, we'll get into it. All right. Anybody else? What about the lowlights? What disappointed you?
I didn't tell you what I liked.
Oh yeah, well, go ahead, Adam. Yeah, and then
Look at that. I don't turn on the camera. I just get it.
Yeah, I forgot about you, man.
Damn. Here we go.
Yeah,
we said it. Ninja Gaiden. That one. I was excited for that. Mafia. Take it back.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, Mafia Old Country. Yes, that was good.
Forgot about
that. Go back to the motherland. Let's eat some olives. Intergalactic, as crazy as whatever the bullshit they want to do, I like their storytelling. Good or bad, gameplay's always solid with the Naughty Dogs. So at least they're not going to get some broken out the box shit. It should be solid. So that's it. Take it for what it is. But it looked cool. It looked like they're doing something interesting. And I want to see where that goes. That'll probably be a 2028 release, on time. So
and 2030.
Right, or 2030 and 2032.
Yeah, they keep it going. It's
2033 is when the remaster is going to be
remastered. Yeah,
it's going to launch alongside The Last of Us 2 multiplayer. So they'll be hand in hand. Keep it fresh. So
now,
those
Adam,
are my three.
Adam, let me ask you a bit of a nerdy question on this. Are you excited for an interpersonal story with this backdrop, or do you think that Naughty Dog is going to do a little bit more world building than they usually do?
I'm hoping they do more world building. I'm hoping, because remember that what they said, from what we know, is that they plan on making a TV show and all kinds of other bullshit. Well, you can't just have a streamlined story then. You can't have a linear story. You have to branch out. You have to put in a lot of characters. You have to create a world. And when you use that name, Intergalactic, you think big, right? Big. So there should be a lot going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if they throw some curveballs. Like, we're focusing on this chick in the trailer, but when it launches, maybe we see another perspective, like what we saw with The Last of Us and how it switched. And then maybe we'll see another one. Like, oh, I thought it was this. Well, yeah, that's one part. More of thinking like Grand Theft Auto 5 and how you would switch characters. Maybe they do something like that. But I just think big. I think they're going to go big. And that'll leave a lot more content and room for other creators, whether it's the TV show, movie, whatever the hell they said they want to do, to branch out instead of just constantly just trying to grasp for any kind of content they can just within the story itself. It's like, oh, let's do a side story. Maybe that one character showed up for 15 seconds in this one scene. We could build on that. No, I think they're going to go big with this if they plan on making it a franchise, which is how they're describing it. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Brian, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us. What were some of the highlights for you from the TGAs? That's the first question.
Ooh, I had a few. Okami sequel, I guess. Onimusha, that's always a good time. Turok, something coming out from that, which is great. Apart from that, I don't remember much really. Again, I wasn't as in love with the show as Tony was, but there was still some decent reveals. Again, there's always some decent reveals in there, so there's always that. But yeah, definitely not as infatuated as Tony was.
Listen, I got what I wanted for years, so I'm good. By the way, Brian, just real quick, because I did tweet about this. My highlights were Ninja Gaiden, Elden Ring, Project Robot, Shadow the Colossus guy. Clive in Tekken 8, Virtua Fighter, the other Ryo Gagoto game, Animusha, like you said, and Okami. All right, what about the lowlights, real quick? And we probably should speed up because we got like 25 more questions. We got a lot of questions tonight. What were some of the? I can't really say there was like lowlights, but except actually, I don't know. I got to think about this. I can't because again, they kept things moving relatively fast this year. That's always been my complaint. You know, it's like hurry the fuck up.
I know the low light. I know a low light.
Yeah. You mean Intergalactic?
No, that I haven't seen enough of that to even make a decision.
Yeah, go ahead. What's a low light?
Is to see.
Yeah.
Oh, the actual game awards themselves.
Oh yeah, you mean just running through them? Yeah.
It was literally worse than last year. They literally just bashed through every single one of them so that they could literally get to the things. And they only gave away. I can't tell you how many they gave away on the show, but at least had to be 4. They gave away more.
I think you're right. Yeah.
They legitimately gave more actual awards away on the pre-show. Like literally had people come out and do their little speeches on that early show than they actually did the actual game awards.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Okay, I was thinking about that this morning. Like, how many actual awards did they do? I'm not talking about the list. Like, here are the nominees for blah blah, and here's the winner.
Legitimately had people come out. What was it? The best action game, right? Which Wukong won. Director, game of the year, and then the lifetime achievement award or games for change guy. That's it. 4.
I think that's it. Yeah.
So at least I remember.
Yeah. Real quick, J Shep. Brett said Outer Worlds too. He's like, nobody said Outer Worlds. Brett said it. All right, Brooke,
listening.
Yeah, he was listening to. What about the rest of you guys? What were some of the disappointments for you?
The Harrison Ford stuff was kind of awkward.
That was stupid.
What am I doing here?
And I will say this: it's nitpicking, more so nitpicking that it is a low light. But Kojima went in and he gave out a speech. And then he gave out an award, and that award speech was like a fraction of what the hell Kojima's speech was. So I just we like going back to when Manny was talking about with the actual awards is like we didn't really spend enough time listening to the people making the games and winning awards for games. It was more like a handful of them.
I would like to point out the irony of the Game Awards when they say it's about the developers and all of that sort of stuff. But again, another situation where you barely gave enough time for these people to even be on the stage. If you're just rattling off these things.
It's about the advertisers and the
Oh no, yeah, it's an advertiser. Oh yeah, I guess one of the highlights was the what's his face,
the Muppets,
Settler and Waldorf.
Yeah, the Muppets were good. Yeah, they were good.
Puppets.
They were good. They were grilling them. All right, anybody else? Low lights.
All of the Fortnite adverts.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm just sick and tired of seeing that game in general. I mean, I understand that.
About a game, Brian, please. You have to respect. Bend the knee, please.
Yeah, Brian, you're gonna find the last question of the show very interesting. I'm really glad you're saying this. Go ahead.
There were like 4 of them, and 2 of them were the exact same advert. So I'm like, like, come on, people. Like, if you're going to have Fortnite ads, at least be different ads. Like, at least give me that. If you're going to waste my time, then waste my time with different stuff. Don't do the same advert twice. It's just like, ugh. Just annoyed me. I mean, did we ever get an ad for like Genshin Impact at the Game Awards?
Not that I could recall.
Oh.
We may have though. We may have. Not sure, but I don't remember it. But then again, it's probably with Genshin Impact games like that in one year out the other with me. So who knows? Yeah. Somebody's burping.
Bless you.
All right. Let's move on. Again, we got a lot of questions tonight. All right, another one from Dio. Where was Insomniac Studios at the Jeff Keighley Awards? What is the current state of the Wolverine game? And my answer to both of those is I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
I mean, after that huge leak that Insomniac had, there could be a huge pivot that they just did. to just try to get around all the possible spoilers that had essentially generated. So yeah.
So we can't really answer it. We don't know. We
Yeah.
have to see. All right, moving on. Jay Shep in the house. Which was the most awkward moment at the TGAs? Ken Kutaragi coming out to the stage, or Harrison Ford just being old and being there? Ken Kutaragi was the weirdest thing because that was like the first thing, man.
Yeah, it was weird because I feel like, to be honest, I wanted to actually hear him speak.
Yeah. But the thing is, that intro was just introducing some of the people that were there. It wasn't for him.
No,
you know what I mean?
But here's the thing: like the way he said it, it almost sounded like he was calling him up on stage.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he assumed that it was like, oh shit, I'm on stage.
Yeah,
Father of PlayStation.
Wasn't it last year that we had Al Pacino with his awkward moment? Remember, like stumbling, and then now we had Harrison Ford. It's like. He's
those got to bring one old man
coming
out.
on that just feel like they don't want to be there.
How's it going?
And both of them are only there because they're linked to a game, and they just really don't want to be there.
Yeah,
just offering my licensing rights to these people.
What I don't understand with that, just why can't they just feed them? Like, just make it like have the guy come out and was like, hey, are you excited for this? Yeah, all right, so let's show that game. You know what I mean? They're just for their presence. We don't need to hear them talk. Right? We just need to see their face. Obviously, that's what they're there for. They're not going to give some long monologue or anything. Come on now.
Well, that's why when he looked at the teleprompter, he's like, I'm not
saying he's like, I'm not reading that. He said it. He was like,
which shows that he didn't even read beforehand.
Yeah.
Because usually they would give you beforehand. It's like, hey, this is it, just in case, you get lost in the prompter. He probably is like, I'm not doing any of this shit. I'm just going to come out and say, yeah, I'm in this game. You like it, you don't, peace. I'm out.
Yeah, but yeah, I do think that Ken Kutaragi was the weirdest one. It's like, and it's embarrassing too. It's like, this is Ken Kutaragi. Like, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, those you can't top both of those.
No, those are it. Those are it. All right, move on. Black Mage, we've got a few questions here. Did the Game Awards restore your hope for gaming this console generation? I'm still going to say no, but there are at least some good games coming for sure. Like I said, I got my Virtua Fighter. I'm happy, but obviously one game is not going to save an entire generation, No,
not like I would say number one, like a lot of those things that we saw, which, hey, look, it's cool that these things are coming back. No fucking dates.
Yeah, no dates. Nothing. So it may not even be this generation, right, Manny?
Yeah, most of that stuff may not even be this generation.
Well, you got spoiled. That's why we got spoiled. All those decades and years of just knowing things and seeing things come out, and now it takes so long to produce these games that they just can't stick to any of these dates. So they're like, no, we're not going to give anything because then you'll be pissed if we don't hit our date. So we'll just keep our mouth shut.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that so if you're gonna make an announcement, be sure that your thing is coming close. Don't like, hey, look, don't pull a fucking Cyberpunk and literally have, what was it, how many years it was before they actually finally worked on that?
Oh, 8 years. Oh, we have a question about that too, yeah.
It did 8 years. So, okay, number two, they made an announcement for The Witcher, right? How long is that going to fucking take?
Yeah.
Seriously, that trailer doesn't do a damn thing other than tell you that they're making the game.
I guess that shut people up. I'm not in those forums. I'm sure there's some forum out there where people are like, when's the next Witcher coming? What are you guys doing? You're not making Cyberpunk DLC?
That's precisely, it's precisely why they opened a new section of the company in the States to handle the Cyberpunk franchise. And then also Cyberpunk had a pretty significant update, which was not done by CD Projekt Red. They actually literally hired another company to essentially do these additional gameplay changes and DLC.
Yeah, that was a big update. That was a big change.
Yeah, it was a pretty. And they said that that it was going to be the last update was going to be the last of the updates for Cyberpunk. But to be honest, when it comes to Cyberpunk, they need to keep that thing alive because they have so many other projects that are coming pretty soon. And what did Edge Runners do when it came out? It literally bumped interest in the Cyberpunk game, and not to mention they released the DLC around the same time as that newer DLC around the same time as that anime came out. So I think that's what they're doing. They're going to essentially handing the original game over to another company to do those things, and then so when those big moments come, when their other stuff drops, their game gets a nice bump.
I mean, we're in 2024 in the year of our Lord, and Brian Manjoma is not excited for a CD Projekt Red game and a Witcher game at that. So the times they are changing.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. That's like, again, all the games I just listed right now could all drop next year. Every single one of them. I still don't think it's going to save the generation.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're nice. What I call them is they're nice to haves, but those are not generation defining titles.
None of them. Maybe
one of
the
them,
Ueda game, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, maybe the Ueda game.
Yeah.
He's known for that.
He is known for that, yeah. But no, in general, no. But again, even that one game, bro, even that one game is not going to change shit. I know dudes in the chat already saying GTA 6 is going to do that. We'll see. I don't know about that, bro.
What's GTA 6? Vaporware at this point?
It is, yeah.
It's a game that's not coming out next year.
Give us a date?
Yeah.
What did they give us a year?
Yeah,
least?
they did.
No,
Yeah,
right?
they did.
2026.
No, they said 2025, Adam.
No, come on now.
That's what. No, I'm telling you, that's what they said. Realistically, 2026 for sure.
I mean, the problem is like they make more money not releasing it than they do releasing it.
Yeah, right. Just
that is true.
Yep, shark cards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kishak goes. I don't think gaming can be saved when the Viewers' Choice Award part of the TJs had 3 gotcha games in the top 5. Yeah, some gamers need to be ashamed of themselves for that, bro. That's bad. Pero why? So yeah, again, I'm happy that some of these titles, especially Virtua Fighter, is coming, but it hasn't restored my faith. There is no hope or faith. There is no faith to have. It's already done. I don't think there's any turning
What?
shit
I'm still
around.
trying to remember. What's Virtual Fighter? I know it was shown after because we stayed.
Are you kidding? You didn't hear me screaming when they announced it? I would lost my fucking shit.
Must have been in the potty.
Yeah, maybe you were. Yeah,
but I do remember. Yeah, I do remember after we stayed on to watch.
Yeah, we did that
in depth.
But remember, they showed Virtua Fighter, then they showed the new Yakuza game, like back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously you don't give a fuck about Virtua Fighter like I do,
I mean, I get, but it's like, it's the same thing. It's like proof is in the pudding. I want to see it. I want to see all that stuff, and then I'll get hyped. I want to see what new bells and whistles they add instead of just bringing back the old, which is fine.
If they could bring back the old, I've been asking for this since 2006. Give me this motherfucking game,
Well, I mean, we talked about that too when we saw that they did the whole timeline of all the games. It's like, they're going to come out with an anniversary collection. And no, we didn't get that. So it would be cool if we had that beforehand, to wet the whistle. But
they need to do that. It's like, can you please re-release the first 4 games? Come on, man. By the way, I'm going to talk about Revo in a bit, the Steam version. Ooh, man. By the way, Carlos, J. Shep says he's going to put you in the accountability post for GTA 6.
I said this since day one, and I told him I'm game.
All right, do it.
Do it.
Let's go.
Hold me accountable.
Yeah.
We need this.
I wonder this next question if we should put it in the accountability room too. What percentage of games shown at the TJs will actually be delayed? Let's go.
All of them.
Yeah, a lot of them.
I'm going to try to be optimistic here. 60% will be delayed. I'm being optimistic. I think it's probably more than that,
To be fair, a lot of them didn't even get any dates.
Nothing.
I mean, we didn't get dates for the fucking Naughty Dog game, or did we get one for The Witcher?
No. That's a good point.
No.
You can't delay something that hasn't been announced, like with a release date yet. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of them didn't even get dates, and if they didn't get dates now, I'm pretty sure they're not coming out in 2025.
Hey, you know what? And then people can't really say, "Oh, it's full of a bunch of adverts," and that's what they're doing. Well, not really. This is just stuff they're working on because they can't take any pre-orders. They can't take your money right now. So it's not like, "Oh yeah, look, get this game. We pre-order now." We didn't get a lot of that, if any. I didn't see any. No dates.
Yeah, no dates. Yeah. So yeah, yes. I guess the question we can't really answer it because we haven't gotten release dates for most of these. Did they announce any game with an actual firm release date? I think that's a better question.
Oh, a firm one.
Like a firm, like this is coming out month, day, year. Like I don't even know if we got that, bro.
Yeah, because like Elden Ring, we just got a year.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No,
I mean, I
because
can't
it would have been
recall.
hammered with pre-orders.
Carlos,
Would've been
is
that
that the
whole thing would've
Cyberpunk
been.
effect? You know?
That's the Cyberpunk effect. That's the side effect.
It's a Mandela effect.
That's the Mandela effect.
Yeah,
Mandela
you're like, I
effect.
could have swore I saw that. No, you didn't. Oh, they didn't give no dates.
So yeah, we can't really answer it because we didn't get any release dates. You know?
I mean, and if we did, let us know, and then we'll tell you if that specific game's gonna get delayed.
Yeah, let
we
us
can
know.
tell.
Damn, the only thing that was confirmed was Keely crying all the time. Like he was so happy.
I'm so honored.
So I can't wait to show you this. I'm so happy.
It looks so forced, man. He does this every year.
Every year.
But for who? Who? I want to know who is he pulling on that's
I
like
wanna
someone
know.
watching and they're like a tears falling down their eye. Like, yes, I relate to you. Who is he trying to connect with?
He's like that fucking. He's like that fucking Indian in the pollution commercial. Remember that shit? You know. He's like, okay.
Well, he's trying to make it's because he wants it's a way to convey to the audience this is a pretty big deal, and it's like. You guys just can't believe how important this announcement that I'm about to make.
Doesn't work that way. He should know that. It doesn't work that way. This isn't like the movies awards and stuff where randos tune in because they, watch movies casually or they're into it. Just put it on the background. The folk are not putting the Game Awards on the background while they're cleaning and doing shit. They don't care. No.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Every year he does this shit. All right, another one from Black Mage. Having time to reflect on the Game Awards 2024, I've seen a wide spectrum of positive reactions and anticipation, but I've also noticed something that made me wonder. He goes, a lot of 30 and up gamers are super hype. A few may have said this could be the return of the golden age, while a lot of the younger gamers are hyped as hell, but not nearly as much as the senior gamers. My question is, was this really an amazing lineup of announcements, or has the industry been stagnant and disappointing for so long that a loaf of bread looks like a feast? Excellent question. Excellent question.
No, man. No.
Wait, who said neither?
I did.
Okay, go ahead. You can answer first, Brett.
Of course, are your local contrarian.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is a lot of games that the younger crowd may be too young to remember, but still look pretty good. But the older crowd gets a lot of nostalgic member berries from, and I think that's honestly the answer. Like, we see so many games from, quote, the heyday of gaming, and a lot of older folks will say it's unless you're our age, then you may not remember the heyday of gaming, to be real honest, as a lot of us think of it.
Yeah. The part that stuck with me of the question was, did some of us who were excited, people like me, just excited because we've had just a drought of games? I'm like, bro, that's a good point, man. That's a great point.
I think it's like we're not just a one size fits all. It's like that with movies. It's like that with books, and the same should go for this. It's like we all have something that we all want. Maybe the older crowd likes, the Tekken and the Virtua Fighter, Ninja Gaiden and stuff. Then the younger crowd wants something else. It's like, all right, that's fine. You don't have to like it all. So if it's divided, that's fine. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the only reason I say that I stick on that is this whole, it's like, it's a return of the golden age. Like, I don't know if you'd be getting that reaction if we just got a lot of good looking releases. Like, that's a sentiment reserved for coming back to touching on all the IPs that have sat on the dusty shelf for a decade. So I think if it wasn't a bunch of sequels and re-release IPs and everything like that, we'd be like, this looks like a great year. But to say, it's the return of the golden age, like that's a member berry statement.
Yeah, that's too much. Tying it back to the previous question, no, I don't think this is going to save gaming or usher in a golden age. So, and I'm of the senior gamers you're talking about here. No, some good stuff here and there, but no, it's not going to usher in a golden age or anything like that. So but then again, I am granted, a fucking cynical bastard, but
Yeah.
still,
Well,
you know,
every golden age is
follow
different.
patterns, you know.
Every golden age is different depending on your generation.
I don't think
how you see it.
I here's the thing, Adam. I agree with your sentiment, but I don't think any sane person could say this is like the best generation. Like, not even close. You know?
Adam, I mean, your statement makes sense technically, but also got to take into account a lot of, when people say the golden age of cinema, mostly people say it's the 70s. It's kind of,
they hold on to the past from when they saw the big transition. Like for us, we saw that big transition for the, PS3, 360. That was huge when we went to HD and 1080p.
Yeah, that was the last big.
And we were getting multiplayer and we're talking to people and chatting like, what the hell? And then you get a little camera. Holy shit, are we doing this? And then that's it. I mean, that's it. We lived it. Everything else now is expected. All the stuff that the kids are doing now and chats and doing this and that, playing all these games that are multiple games inside one game, it's all expected. So I don't see it ever switching. That's it. If you want your golden age, build a nice shelf in the back and put all your favorite games there, just like you do all your favorite movies and music. And there's your collection. That's it. People like, oh man, well, I remember when games were good. Yeah, you take a look at my shelf on the left over here. Yeah, all right, we're gonna play some BioShock tonight. Are you ready? Yeah, get the popcorn, buddy. Get the popcorn. We're gonna do this.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, Manny, go ahead. You want to say something on this?
No, I was going to say the thing about any golden age is that you don't know it's the golden age when you're in it. Right?
Yeah.
And it's after the fact that you realize that that is the golden age. But I don't think anywhere in the previous Forest generation or this generation is anything close to what could be considered a golden age.
I agree.
I know that the graphical fidelity has gotten on there. Is pretty sharp and as beautiful as it could ever be. But at the same time, look at the content that you're getting in there. And I know a lot of you out there you're not used to having essentially bangers constantly coming out and not far from each other.
Yeah.
You go all the way back to the PlayStation 2 generation, literally the year after we got Final Fantasy X, we got Kingdom Hearts. That's how close that shit was. Once that generation started, that's when it continued to roll.
We didn't have
2007, like we always say.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
and then again like with the 360 X, and PlayStation generation, there's a lot short of a wait time between any of those titles.
Shit, man! Remember going to GameStop, seeing it packed with people, tons of used games on shelves everywhere, everybody buying stuff. I mean, nope, that's gone now.
Also, I feel like, and maybe I'm not perceiving this on the older generations, but at least from what I can tell on the newer ones is there's a lot of gamers and a lot of folks who are incorporated into the gaming community that are single game gamers, where it's like there's just folks that have played the last 5 years only playing Fortnite, or the last 10 years only playing FIFA, or the last 10 years only playing Call of Duty. So I feel like when we see gamers like that are just like that, and it's a huge swath of them. It's really, that's why everyone's trying to get the golden goose. That's why Sony's doing all these live service games, is because they're all trying to get that one game where the repeating millions of people are just gonna stay in that game. Where I feel like the SNES days, I just don't feel like anybody played one game that for half a decade consistently.
Weren't that long. You go through, you play Kung Fu, you hit level 5. Okay, I guess do this all over again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like there's like gaming special. It's gonna sound stupid because it's not an official term. I'm just gonna call it like gaming specialists. Like you have the motherfuckers. All they do every year is just play Madden. That's it. All they do is play FIFA. All they do is Call of Duty. But granted, those are more of the general audiences. Like I still feel like guys like us that are like really passionate about gaming still play a wider variety of genres. Even if it's not like a lot, like we play like more than 3, for example. But that's guys like us. But so I think the generalist people are the mainstream like kind of normies and stuff. So but at the same time, it's still part of the gaming community, all of it, right? So it's just weird. What's your take on that, Brett? I'm sorry, by the way, I haven't fully formed this. I'm just forming this now as I'm hearing Carlos talk about it.
So this whole sentiment, Warcraft would like a word.
Yeah.
This whole idea that like we with it, nobody's put these kinds of hours or played. I had one persistent game that they played for years on end, like EverQuest before that, like Ultima Online before that. Like shit, I've been doing this shit since I was 13. Like this should absolutely existed back then. It's just not everybody played in that space. And we're more aware of it now, but persistently ongoing games have been doing for 25 years.
But you were also playing other games. That's the point. You were also playing other games.
Yeah, but you can play Fortnite and other games, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, I don't know Carlos's stipulation, but I assume it's like you're only a person that only plays one game and nothing else.
I think a lot of people have like primary games, and I think a lot of people have go-to games. Most of the people that I've known to play those games, They play them pretty hardcore, and then they'll die down, then a season or an expansion will come out, and they'll play them again hardcore for a while, and then they sprinkle the middle of that, or in between that, they sprinkle other types of games, like everybody played fucking God of War, even the people who played Fortnite, I think. So I think that's their way, and mine too. That's how I have Valheim, man. I play Valheim, or I'll go back and play Baldur's Gate again. I'm playing Path of Exile now, There's lots of games that, or even online games, that are just kind of like activity games, and I think that people have done that for a while. I mean, League of Legends is the same way. We've had these games for a long time. I think the idea that this is a new phenomenon is kind of not necessarily.
Yeah, what do you
correct.
think about that, Carlos?
Not that it's a new phenomenon, but I'm just trying to think, and obviously I don't have the answers to this because I don't think anybody's ever recorded this, but it's just there's more concentration on gamers who stay on one particular game than they used to. I mean, yeah, we had WoWs, we had RuneScape and all that stuff, but I feel like the gamers back then were could be more diversified in terms of what they played, but that could just be me just speculating. But
I think it's when you see games like Grand Theft Auto 5, the online, and how that evolved, adding all these different parts of gameplay that we would never even associate with Grand Theft Auto. But they were doing it, and in turn, it was turning into a party game for a lot of young kids. It's like, oh, we're gonna go hang out on Grand Theft Auto online. What are you gonna do? Rob banks? Oh, no. We can do races. We can do this and that. Both things. We got it's all this other stuff, and that's when you keep people engaged. And then we see that with the success of Fortnite, with all the games they have, Roblox, and all those type of games. It's one game that has a bunch of games, which then in turn makes it into its own arcade. And when you can bring your buddies and stuff, you're technically, for someone who doesn't know, oh, you're only playing one game? Well, not really. I'm in one game.
And I'll be done in 5 minutes.
I feel like there's a higher concentration these days. There's a higher concentration of games that take a significantly more attention from a gamer than they used to on average. You mentioned, Adam, you got the Fortnites, you got the GTA 5s, you got the Minecrafts, you got all of these games that are being made that are strictly made to be played for years. We've had WoWs, which it's the same case, but that's 2000s. And there wasn't that many games like WoW that took years. Like people
but even WoW constantly had expansions. Like I didn't play, but I had a cousin who lived on that damn game, and I'm like, "What are you still playing?" And he was like, "Oh, they just keep coming up with expansions. It's not a new version. They just keep building on it." Yeah. And that's how you keep that group engaged. You just keep adding more content until they stop showing up.
Yeah. All right, I think we went down a interesting rabbit hole, but rabbit hole nonetheless. So let's get back to the other questions here. All right, Alpha Chuck Does it seem like CD Projekt Red did not learn their lesson from Cyberpunk? As much as I'm looking forward to Witcher 4, please don't have the first reveal trailer 6 years before the release date of the game. Yeah. We're not going to see this for a while. This game I don't think it's even going to come out this generation, to be honest.
I think we pointed on why they did that, just to shut people up to let them know what they're working on.
Not only that, but also the investors, you got to let them know.
Yeah, it's like, look, everybody know. There's no date, just you know what this is what we're doing. Now, if they don't learn their lesson, we'll know if that comes out, the game, which it's hot garbage and it's got all kinds of bug problems, or they say, hey, we're only releasing it on the PC and the console. We'll let you know after the reviews of the PC comes out. Then attack them, because they have not learned their lesson.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, but they're kind of stuck in a hard rock place. They have to make these announcements.
Yeah,
like they have no choice. So yeah. All right. Now we're getting into the more controversial part of this podcast. People, get ready. Black Metal Gamer. Yeah, I have to say his name. That's all you need to know. And I don't know if I should just tie all these questions together because they're all kind of the same in a way. But no, we'll go one by one. Black Metal Gamer. Is anyone excited to play the new Naughty Dog Jada Pinkett Smith Girl Boss Space Adventure game? Yeah, so is anybody looking forward to playing Intergalactic, whatever, Heretic, Prophecy?
Intergalactic,
Intergalactic.
I don't know why people like so. I remember G.I. Jane, and when that movie came out, and how people were up in arms about this. It was like, oh, she's such a beautiful woman. She shaved her head for this role, and they're trying, why couldn't she have pretty hair? And who gives a shit? If the story is good, I don't care what they look like. I don't. So, I mean, we saw a trailer. All right, there's some drama there, whatever. I want to see the gameplay because that's what it is, right? I'm going to be playing the game. So I don't care.
For me, there's just not enough there for me to be excited or not excited. All we just saw was just a character get up out of bed, drink a soda, talk to somebody, blast off. So playing.
Yeah,
and then a couple of seconds of her jumping on some robot shit. I don't know what to make of that.
The only thing I got was Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. That was it, like the theme with the
music. It definitely looked like it was starting to feel like that sort of Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. I would say the biggest disappointment of this thing is just the fact that we spotted a couple of well-known actors spattered between on the pictures and stuff like that, and I feel like again, in a world where you can make anybody, you can make any person that you can imagine, why are you locking yourselves into these specific people? I don't give a shit that homeboy from what was it, the Eternals, is in this game. I don't care if homegirl is from whatever the fuck she's from. I don't give a shit that she's in this game. So why is she there?
Well, it's not only just that, Manny.
Can't we just get okay, if you really want to have these people in there, just have them play the voice or do the motion capture, but just give me a new character. Don't give me some just a scanned person, because to me that's not even creative at that point. And that's the same issue that I had with Death Stranding. As much as I like that game, the biggest issue I have with that game is the fact that there's a bunch of recognizable famous people, and it's difficult to just see them beyond whatever they are.
Conan O'Brien and shit.
Conan O'Brien, some performer from Japan,
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
Oh yeah,
Jeff up in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, Kojima. You want to put your buddies in the game. We all would like to do that, but to be honest, I feel like it just makes it silly. And I think the same thing with this. I would have been really more excited that I would like to see Naughty Dog really take a stylistic change than from what their usual styling is. Every single one of their games since Uncharted has gone to these sort of hyper realistic looking games, which is like boring to me. So, but again, I'll let it. I'm giving this thing the benefit of the doubt. Let it do what it needs to do. but already I'm not really that impressed, and I don't see enough of it to make me interested. So we'll see the next trailer, in 2 years.
See,
Yeah.
it's
Go ahead, Brett.
I'm almost. I mean, I understand and respect where you're coming from, Manny, but I find myself kind of the opposite. In that there's a lot there that I have feelings about, but it's also kind of conflicting that I also kind of come out in the same place. It kind of, comes up, it middles out. But like, I dig the vibe. I dig the soundscape, right? But just because I dig both of those things, like, yeah, there's also a ton of product advertising, and I also have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's not necessarily new, but it's definitely got a vibe to it. I'm there for the vibe, but then on the other side of that, like, I don't think you can have any kind of character you want, right? But that just, and I know that they're going for gritty and realistic, but I'm like, fuck, you couldn't put like a not disgusting shirt on her. You could you gotta jump out and like slump down sarcastically in the seat and drive like a drive-through cup from who knows when before, like
From The Last of Us, by the way. That's The Last of Us reference, that thing.
Oh, okay. But just that act, like I was like nobody like wakes up and like shaves their head without showering, wearing dirty clothes, and then drinks last night's soda they left on the car. Like that's a whole different level of garbage.
And then does it in their expensive Porsche spaceship.
Yeah, there's so many ideas here, and they aren't necessarily congruent. And I don't necessarily think that. Yes, let's get it out of the way. Wildly unattractive female, right? Like, and that's not necessarily a problem, especially if she's a character, but oftentimes it's emblematic of a larger design philosophy that kind of is the opposite of kind of, it kind of middles out that cool vibe from earlier. It's like, oh, that's a cool vibe. A lot of times when I see Cyberpunk or retro VHS stuff, that's pretty cool. Sometimes not, but most of the time, yes. And most of the time when I see people going out of their way to show me, androgynous, queer-coded folks, that's them signaling out of their way. And so, I don't know, man, this could be nothing. But like, I think I heard it recently put, like, there are two camps of people who do care about how a character looks and people who don't care about how a character looks. Now, the people who don't care are never going to care, no matter what the character looks like. So now, out of the people that do care what a character looks like, there are more people that want to look at a character that they like looking at than more want to look at a character that they don't like looking at. And so I feel like you're always batting for the minority of your audience in this. And it's the opposite of fan service, right? And like that is a design philosophy that I have. I'm wary of. It's not that I'm against it. I'm wary of it. Like, okay, so you think you know better than you know better than your audience, and that's fine if you do. It's a gamble. And so but even then, like for me, what it all comes down to is I have never known Naughty Dog to do particularly compelling world building. I have seen them do decent world building as a backdrop to tell interpersonal narratives, but I have not seen anything in their catalog that tells me that they have a catalog of cohesive world building skill in their portfolio. So chances are this is just going to be some, like I said, dramatic interpersonal story that is very grounded and gritty with a pretty cool backdrop to the back. People crucify me for this, but that's kind of how I felt about Last of Us. Like, it's a really cool idea, and we kind of see some of the world, but the world is it's nihilistic and it's gritty, and I don't think it has a point in the story that it's telling. Everybody's gonna hate me for saying that. It's how I feel. I think they're being intentionally nihilistic, and they're like, that's the twist, is there's no real point to the story. Things just go on. And I'm like, fucking great, cool. That's awesome. That's not my jam.
So from what Neil Druckmann has said, he was very inspired by the Souls games and their sort of non-linear storytelling, where in other words you find out things, on your own, like or through environmental storytelling. And he said that's something he's sort of exploring in this title. So
Okay.
my guess, so from what it sounds like, it seems like he's giving the player a lot more agency as to the way they sort of enjoy the plot of the game.
Okay, well, I love environmental storytelling, so I think that comment more than anything got me excited for the game. To be 100% honest, like okay, if we're doing some environmental storytelling with a cool vibe, I'm willing to give it a chance. I've tried every game that they've made. Haven't loved them all. Loved the Uncharted games. Didn't really catch on either. Love the first Last of Us. Just didn't. Second one didn't catch me. So they hit more than miss. So I'm definitely willing to give it a try. I understand where people are saying like, that's a bit of a red flag, because a lot of times when people are really kind of pushing forward a character like that, they're definitely pushing an angle. Again, that being said, if you put forward a Stellar Blade type character, you're also pushing forward a different kind of, like, you're just showing where priorities lie. And I sometimes do like grounded base, like grounded in reality, deep, gritty, real characters. But the older I get, I don't know, man. Like, the less I seem to care about what people think is real, because I find it's like, it's not. Like, a lot of times, like, being gritty and down to earth and real just means like communicating poorly.
I mean, the thing is that, like, when it comes to these sorts of things, I think there's also different levels, right? Not every, as much as Dark Knight Returns and The Watchmen were on, how effect on the industry, that sort of storytelling doesn't work for everything, right? Not everything can be this dystopian, violent world, right? So I feel like, I'd like to see Naughty Dog get back to the fun again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to address something Reggie said, and then I'll lead to my thoughts on it. And the question for anyone joining is, are you excited for the new Naughty Dog game? So Reggie says, is a person not allowed to tell a story the way they created it? I personally don't mind the product placement. Fun fact, the product placement is there for the aesthetic versus promoting. Obviously you are allowed to tell whatever story you want, but that doesn't mean that people are obligated to buy it or be excited about it, right? So to answer the question, given, and I've said this many times about The Last of Us 2, that game kind of, like, the way that game, not only the way that game was, but the surrounding behavior by the fans and the developers has really soured me on Naughty Dog. And now, based on what I've seen with this trailer, what I now know about the actress and stuff, I'm being very cautious with this one. Let me finish, Brett. Unless I am specifically asked, Tony, play this game. You need to review it. We don't have anybody else to review this game. I'm probably going to skip it because I already see the signs. Like you said, Brett, like, there are clear signs. I'm like, oh, I know these signs. And every time I go check out a product with these signs, I'm never happy. So I think I may just save myself the annoyance and just skip it, because I'm already seeing signs. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good. And so far, for the last, I would say, 4 years, me skipping this sort of stuff has greatly helped my sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, bro.
Just real quick to respond to Reggie. Yes, you are allowed to tell a story in whatever way that you want, but you can also kind of receive criticism, and we can kind of break down, like, narratively, what was the point of that entire part where we're showing her, like, wake up, shave her head, plop down in the seat, drink an old soda while getting saucy with her contact, like, 95% of that didn't need to be there. I didn't need to see come on.
It was character. It was character building. It reminded me of Sixth Sense, and it reminded me of those type of things. Like, it's just like, does it matter really? No, it doesn't. But they're just trying to show, hey, this is a gritty, dirty, raunchy type of person out in space. That's it. We'll shave. We'll drink some shit. Doesn't care. That's what I got from it. I was like, okay.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Brian, I want to hear your thoughts on this as a resident Naughty Dog skeptic.
I've been seeing the discourse as to why people are excited for this, and I honestly, it seems like people are just excited because it's Naughty Dog, which is weird to me. Because again, okay, you could be excited because it's a developer that you like. That's fair enough. I understand, but I genuinely didn't see anything in this game that made me excited to play said game.
I didn't even see a game.
Well, the thing is, according to them, it's not a game, it's a franchise. And that's the other thing that really disgusted me. Like, they didn't describe it as, oh, it's a new Naughty Dog game. They described it as a new Naughty Dog franchise. So I'm like, you're already betting that it's going to have spin-offs, films, other types of media. So are you really that focused on the game? Or are you just focused on trying to milk it before it's even born yet? And that's the other thing that's just like, oh, that's not a good sign. Again, the whole character debate thing, I'm honestly in the camp of I don't care that much to a certain point. I just don't really care. The only thing that had sort of interest was the last 5 seconds, but then they did that thing where it's like, oh yeah, we'll cut the camera just before the impact hits. And it's like, the least you could do is show something, but again, to me, they shown nothing. So I have zero interest yet. Like, absolutely zero. I'm not disinterested. I'm not positively interested. I'm completely indifferent because they're not showing anything for me to be either way.
Brian, in the last 5 seconds, is that guy that they're fighting Kumail Nanjiani?
Yeah, that's the guy from the Eternals. Yeah, I don't know.
Eternals guy.
I don't think so. I think it's just like a random bot. And even then, the bot design was kind of a bit lame, I'd have to say. It just kind of looked like generic bot you download off like the UE store. I mean, whereas like, okay, compare that design, like a design from like a Souls game. You know, like they always have something interesting. Whether it's like the weird cat thing in Elden Ring that moves like a statue, or the crystal boss, or the bloody centipede demons, you know, something that's visually interesting. This just looks like, oh, it's a robot with another arm, or it's like a slightly bigger body. It's like, again, to Manny's point, you have the free reign to create practically anything, and that's how low the bar is set. It's like, I'm not interested yet. You know, again, granted, when they come out with a gameplay trailer, maybe they'll show something more in general. But as I said, I'm literally at 0 at this point. So it's fascinating seeing everyone else who is very excited for this game and otherwise.
Yeah, and I want to. Yeah,
so you didn't see anything.
Yeah, I don't know what they're hyped on.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, and that's one thing I'm gonna say before we move on, because again, we still got a lot of questions here. It's a little annoying because I've talked to some people about this game already. It's a little annoying when people are mad or upset that I'm not hyped. I'm like, I'm not trying to tell you shouldn't be hyped. Why should I be hyped? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm not trying to go out of my way to tell you why you shouldn't be hyped, why are you trying to go out of your way to tell me why I should be? I never understood this. You know, I'm like,
it's always going to be like for everything. That's life, man.
Yeah.
Why don't you like this team? You're from New York.
No, but Adam,
love the Yankees.
No, I agree. By the way, I do. You know, I like the Yankees too. But my point is, like, I am not doing that, so I don't understand why people are doing it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck what you like or don't like. I don't care, bro. I'm not trying to convince
you. Are you criticizing it?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I'm not. I'm literally saying I'm not interested.
Well, I mean, if you say that and then don't back it up,
that's offensive on its own.
Yeah.
You know?
If you just said, shut it down, be like, it's not my type of game.
Literally, Brett, everything I just said everything I said before. That's right. It's like, you know, I don't like the direction, so whatever. But I'm not. But again, I am not going out of my way to say this is why you shouldn't like it. I'm not doing anything like that. So I understand why I'm getting it the other way around. This is why you should like it. You know,
the reason why is because like I mixed on it. I've discussed it with people. and they've been of the mindset of like that. I just because I have criticisms that I don't want to play it. I'm like, oh no, I'm cautiously optimistic. So like if you levy criticism, people think that you're criticizing the conclusion that they've come to. If you're just like, it's not for me, then that's fine. But like if you say anything about beyond that, about like why it's not for you, they're gonna be like, well, maybe you don't understand. Like they're gonna need to, discuss it.
People need to seriously take away themselves from products and shit they like. It's not a reflection on you if somebody doesn't like the thing you like, bro. But that's a whole other topic.
All right, you talk to pushy people.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
That's pushy people.
Yeah. All right. Next up, another question about this game, Black Mage. What is wrong with this generation of gamers who are literally crying over Ciri or any other female protagonist being the main protagonist in a game or The Witcher 4? Did they not play the last game? All right. So I guess this one's a little.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll say this. I understand why people are saying this because when Tomb Raider came out, there was no kind of agenda being pushed. Now that we've had 8 years of this sort of stuff, I understand why people are a little weary. And sometimes you have unfair targets, right? Like the Furiosa movie was unfairly targeted that way. A movie was not pushing that agenda, but since we've had 80 years worth of this stuff, I understand where people are coming from,
I like games that give you options.
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Remember, hey, you want to play as this dude or you want to play as the sister? And you have two different stories that may intertwine later, but give me options.
Yeah. So the thing I just want to say with this answer is, people are just looking at, okay, there's this example. What about this example? You got to look at the entirety of pop culture to understand why people are upset. It's not just one case or another. Because if you just look at it in that kind of narrow scope, then it looks stupid. It's like, you motherfuckers then complain about bald head Ripley. Why complain about bald head what's her face? Yeah, that makes sense if you don't look at the entirety of everything. If you criticize bald head Ripley in 1993, you wouldn't be canceled. Your whole livelihood wouldn't be destroyed. You know what I'm saying? It's a very different world. You gotta take the whole thing into context here. So even if you disagree with the people, that's fine. Just at least understand where these criticisms are coming from. And and to me, they're not baseless. I get it.
I mean, okay, hold on. I don't think that's fair. Like, in the other way, like, I don't think these are two equal camps here. Like, to the people that are like, well, why do people have a problem? Like, she was set up in the last game. Why would you have a problem with Ciri being in there? And I guess to that, I would be like, okay, explain to me why we need Ciri in this. Because, like, I looked it up, and I was like, Geralt of Rivia's in 5 books. Ciri's in 5 books. She never becomes a Witcher. She never picks up his footsteps. She is never the main protagonist in any book. None of this is canon from where the author's coming from. So, like, I understand that doesn't mean that there can't be this, but it means that there's no precedent for this. This is simply made up by the people who make the video game, by CD Projekt Red, to make more money. And, like, this is entirely CD Projekt Red detached from the source material. So, like, it is treading new road, which I feel like I don't necessarily agree. Like, sure, like, Ciri can be in it. Like, you ran out of Witcher stuff, right? Like, I assume they tread all 5 books between those 3 games and their DLCs. So I'm assuming they're just out of Geralt of Rivia stuff. Personally, I like the idea people have talked about, like, make your own character in a Witcher game, but, like, they want to tell a story with Ciri. I don't follow The Witcher, so I don't care that much. But I do think that if we're talking like true angry nerd fashion, like oh, she wasn't in the comic book, like, okay, cool. Like, well, she wasn't in the books like this. This was not a story told in the books. And I in fact I looked it up. For anybody who doesn't want to hear it, spoiler in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Apparently she ends up in King Arthur's world as a Knight of the Round Table, in a different world with Witcher training, but no Witcher supernatural abilities. So if you wanted to even make a spin-off Ciri game that didn't take place in the Witcher world, that would be more canon than this. So I do understand when people steer away from the the things that other things are based off the, and they're like, oh, well, now I'm just going to tell my own story in this world. Like, man, that feels like you're taking a little bit of, a different direction with this. Now, again, I don't have a horse in this race, but I think that the people who are kind of standing up and be like, well, I think other people need to explain why Siri shouldn't be in these books or in these games. I think it should be the other way around, honestly. As there is no precedent for Siri in these books, I think that the people who are saying that this isn't a problem, the onus should be on them to explain why it isn't a problem to go out of canon and just start making up your own shit.
The problem is that he's going to call you names and just.
I know. And that's what I was like. Again, I don't have a horse in this race, but like, it feels to me like if you're going against canon and people are like, why? Your answer can't be why not, because why not is because that's not canon. So,
and that is their answer. Why not? What are you, some kind of ist?
Yeah. But
by the way, Brett, I want you to kind of jump on this too, because this is interesting. Kishak goes, why should we give the other side the benefit of the doubt when they're doing it in bad faith? I heavily disagree with that statement. I think the other side is doing it in bad faith. But what do you think about that, Brett?
I'm sorry, like what now?
He's saying that the people who are saying, oh, Siri shouldn't be in these, shouldn't be the Witcher because blah, 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 that they're doing so in bad faith, that they have no legitimate reason to say that.
They have a legitimate reason to say that because the author didn't put her in a Witcher book. The person who made up all of the stories didn't make Siri a Witcher. And then the people who made the video game, who the Witcher is based off of, and so far, I'm pretty, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, the main plots of the video games are like they're based on the stories of the books, right? Like these aren't just built.
Yeah. Again,
are these entirely?
If the writer can't sue them and is not going to get upset and gives them the liberty to make changes, then it's fair game.
From what I understand, and I could be wrong, because again, just like Brett, I've read like the 2 first Witcher books, but I have never played any of the games. From what I understand, the video games take place after the books, right?
Okay, so
yeah.
I mean,
But my point is, I don't think the people who are criticizing this stuff are doing it in bad faith. I highly disagree with that.
I think there is a lot of. No, I don't think they're doing it in bad faith. There's a lot of stuff going on in Hollywood right now where there's a lot of like, let's pass the torch. And like this has been talked about, it's been seen, it's been known, it's been talked about by writers, by people like this idea of passing it to the new generation and handing it off, like it's not new. In fact, it's actually it's pretty trope writing. So like it's not revolutionary, and then to be like, yes, we're passing it along to a woman or a minority is also like, it's not brave and stunning anymore. It's just kind of like cheap tricks, oftentimes in lieu of a good story. And I've said it before. I've said it until I'm blue in the face. Like, just because you want good stories does not mean that you're against representation. It just means that you want both generally. I don't actually know anybody who's against representation. They just want it tactfully done instead of just being like ham-fisted. Like Dragon Age is not a good story, not because it has I'm assuming transgenderism. I don't know exactly how you non-binary. I don't know how.
They have it all. They have it all. They have it all.
Okay. That it's the writing that is being made fun of in that game that is and like the bits that I've seen, like, oh my god, looks terrible. I've seen critical breakdowns as to like why this dialogue is bad. And yeah, I was like, that makes sense. And I watched it not because I hate the game. I give 2 shits about the game, but because I'm not proud of my writing dialogue writing either. So I'm like, this ought to be a good place to catch a lesson or two. And oh boy, there was a lesson or two in there. But I think that it is fair to be critical of passing the torch because there's this assumption, or at least this hope, this unspoken idea that because this is The Witcher 4 and not Witcher, a new series, because this is the 4th installment, a continuation, it is implying like a continuation. So it to a very small extent, it it implies that the audience is going to carry over, right? And I think a lot of people are like, whoa, this is a new story. This is a new character. It may be the same world, but like, I don't, I mean, I guess in the game, she might be a Witcher now. I'm not really sure. So I think there's this assumption of audience retention. And I think the audience is kind of being like, whoa. You can't just assume that we're all going to be on board. And then other people get upset because like, whoa, why wouldn't you be on board? It's a new Witcher game. Is it because there's a girl in the lead? And like, I mean, kind of. Like, I'll be honest, I don't love it when they switch up the main character on me. Like, that's kind of a downer for me in like a sequel. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't care if you switch it up with another dude or a person or like something else, but like, I kind of feel like, and there's a reason why the first time somebody plays their second Final Fantasy game, they're like, oh, so like, it's just a whole new thing? Like, yeah, that's almost all of them. None of them are really like pick up again. None that we want to talk about, at least. So it's,
Is the writer bitch about this? I mean, that's who the writer do. Does anybody know if?
He's mad. He's mad for other reasons. He felt he gets more money, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
I don't think it matters what the writers feel. I think it matters what the audience feels, and the audience feels that like, hey, we're not necessarily just on board. And I was actually talking about this today in the Miles Morales sense. Like, I think that like. What about I think there are people who are disappointed because they want more Geralt of Rivia stuff. I think there are more people disappointed because, like, yeah, these take place after the books, which means like there's like we don't have to be retiring Geralt. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't we have a Ciri game or a Ciri expansion or why can't it be like Miles Morales and Spider-Man where they each can have their own thing? Like, so I just think the expectation to be able to jump from main character to main character with audience retention and zero questions or kickback it's unrealistic. You're choosing a whole new character. It's just a big change, and some people don't like change. Some people do like change, but just the reaction to be like, well, why would you not like this? Well, I don't know. Like, I'm not even into the game, and I'm like, well, why'd you change the protagonist? Well, why not? Well, did there need to be a reason? Well, did there not need to be a reason? Like, we can go back and forth like this on for days, but like, yeah, there is a reason there didn't need to be a change of protagonist. One, seemed wildly successful. Two, it was a beloved character and a known icon. And three, on a more practical note, I'm pretty sure a good portion of The Witcher is about banging. How is that going to work when you're now playing a character that you've watched grow up from a child and is a girl? I don't know. Is Ciri a lesbian? How is this going to appeal to the mass male audience? Or are they just going to play a girl that they have raised from a child getting railed by a train of random dudes in side quests? Like, you're either going to need to change the tone of the Witcher game or have some very uncomfortable people.
Yeah, I want to address something Kishak says here, because again, I think this is coming from Anyway, I'll just get into it. Why do female protagonists need a justification, but when it's a white man, they don't question it? Nobody questioned Lara Croft back in the day. Nobody questioned Bayonetta. Nobody questioned when Samus Aran was revealed. Nobody questioned female characters. It wasn't until, like I said, starting 8 years ago, when it was like, hey, remember this character you like? Let's replace him. And then you see it over and 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 over again that people start questioning it. So I think but nobody was questioning this. This was normal. We had quote unquote diversity already, but now it's been put to the forefront, and people want you to believe that we've never had it. So I understand why people are questioning this stuff. And J Shep said something about like, oh, what about the how come no one questions the white male agenda? There is no white male agenda. That's not a thing, but you literally have creators out there that are saying, we are pushing this stuff, and if you don't like it, don't buy. They tell you this, bro. So it's a different thing now, If
you told me the next Horizon Zero Dawn that Aloy was a gruff-looking white dude, I'd be like, the fuck is this noise? You guys just give up on your project and hope to appeal to a wider audience? Was he voiced by Nolan North? Like, fucking come on. And yes, we did criticize this shit when Nathan Drake became a thing. We all asked, do we really need a Lara Croft that's a white guy? Do we need this? I have no problem watching Lara Croft.
Yeah. By the way, that's
back in the day with the movies.
Yeah. Syrian Air Force, great point. Because again, because people try to think, oh, you have a problem because they turn to women. If somebody says, hey, we're gonna make Lara Croft a man, we're like, what the fuck is that bullshit? It's it's like
we already have it.
It's like and remember, like I said,
we did say that.
Yeah, we've been saying that. And here's the thing: if you guys have been watching Throwdown forever,
no, I'm talking about when Nathan Drake came out. A lot of people's reaction
Dude
was,
Raider.
"Why the fuck do we need a
remember
white
Brett? Remember the derogatory name, Dude Raider? Like people forget that shit. But again, people are just kind of cherry picking things. You got to look at the whole entirety of everything, bro. Like, this isn't something that's just happening now. It's been happening for years. Matter of fact, the very first episode of this iteration of Throwdown was about Gamergate. This shit has been going on for 10 fucking years or longer, bro. So people are now have reached that point where they're fed up with it, where they're fed up with, not only are they Marvel, remember fucking Marvel, all new, all different. They're fed up with people changing the characters they love and then telling you that you're a fucking asshole if you don't accept it. And if you don't accept it, we're going to destroy your life. People are tired of that nonsense, bro. It's not like, oh, Siri was bisexual in The Witcher. Okay, cool.
Who's saying these things? What are you talking about?
But it's like, if you look at the entirety of all the Adam, I know you don't keep up with this stuff.
But the thing is that everyone has a mouth. Everybody has their opinion. Someone can say something and you can just turn your head and be like, well, that's your views and walk away. I don't see it as a full-on attack of anything if someone has their own views of whatever
it happens. It's been happening for like a decade now, bro. You have a different view.
Hold on. I get it. Like let's say for like Indiana, real quick, like Indiana Jones, right? We got this game. Almost every movie there was always a love interest, right? He had a love interest. Why? Why did he have to have a love interest? Why couldn't he just go out there fucking be Mr. Explorer Man and just be badass? Because that was the expected role of a female in those type of movies at that time. That's just the way it is, Yeah.
All right, last thing, and then actually, let's go on to the next question because it's still related. Kiss Shack, who's been hanging out with us all night, so shout out to you, brother. He goes, how do you guys feel about, and let me finish this question. I've never heard this term before. I had to look it up. How do you guys feel about gooning being turned into a political movement in gaming? If you can't fap to women in a game now, it's considered woke and DEI trash. Gaming is cooked, and the Game Awards have shown how media illiterate gamers are. Even Siri got the smoke, and it's fucking Siri. I had to look this up because I didn't know what the hell gooning was. It's apparently when like you like are really attracted to like a female character or whatever. By the way, the one
I've never heard that before. Yeah, I've never heard that.
Never heard of it either.
Me and Brett know a different definition for that one.
I don't even know it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes how
you get aroused.
You can trick somebody into I'll
fire up Urban Dictionary while you're
and take a small piece of food, and you might call that baiting them into an argument. Some people are masters at that, and this is what we're talking about today.
But yeah, so anyway, I want to pick up on one thing that you said there. I don't like the term media illiterate because it says like, oh, you're stupid. You don't understand the media that's given to you. I've never liked that term, Like, if you like one thing or another, then you don't like it or do like it. I don't like that term. Very condescending term right there. Again, it's gamers haven't turned it into a political statement. The media has, and they've done, again, the first episode of this fucking podcast, it was all about Gamergate. It's the media that's done this stuff. And thankfully, there's been a pushback to it. So, hopefully things will change because I just want companies.
We're blamed for we're blamed for gun violence and all kinds of shit. I mean,
it's like, can we just get, and this is for all entertainment, Get back to pleasing your core audience. Stop.
That doesn't exist.
Yeah, like it, but it does. Like when you were G.I. Joe, you know what the core audience was. It was boys between 8 and 12. There's your core audience. Make good shit for them. Stuff like that. Or like with Barbie, hey, they like Barbie stuff. Give them that. You know, just entertain.
This is what happens when somebody's never seen a Bayonetta.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, Bayonetta, Lara Croft. Nobody had a problem with these characters before.
Oh,
you
well,
know?
Actually, people did have a problem.
Well,
with
Bayonetta, but not gamers.
And then they warmed up to her when they figured out what the joke was.
Yeah.
Well,
At the beginning.
Remember that meme?
They saw Bayonetta.
No, remember that meme? Yeah, it was like Lara Croft comes out. Oh, too sexy, and then. Let's just say Bayonetta comes out. Oh, you're too sexy. Why can't you be more like Lara Croft? And then Eve comes out. Oh, you're too sexy. Why can't you be more like Bayonetta? You know?
I mean, just here's my thing. When we had these things, we didn't have like feral groups of gooners roaming the streets. Like is
that where gooning comes from?
No, it's not. Well, I don't want to get into any of that. But it's just like, here's the thing.
It's like, a lot dirtier turned than even what he's.
You guys explained to me off air because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the kind of behavior from like somebody who's never seen a woman. Like this is the kind of shit. Like this is what happens. Like you make it so games just don't have boobs, and you hide them away, and you tell people anybody who likes boobs is a fucking degenerate, and eventually you've developed a sewer culture of boob-obsessed, degenerate, fucking slimebacks or whatever. I don't know the fuck you call sewer people, but like and I've seen it happen. I saw it happen in some of the old Gamergate subreddits, where like we here know. For those of us in the know, it was about ethics in games journalism. But there was so much put on that it was just a crowd of just gooning sex idiots that eventually the only people left in a lot of those forums were gooning sex idiots. And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is the shit that we're having right now, right? Like, this is the problem. That like, you can't have a Stellar Blade, you can't have a Bayonetta, and then you go 5 years without seeing a fucking ankle, and now we live in this fucking dystopia. I'm convinced that to protect people so hard, they accidentally go the other direction.
Oh God, I just read up what gooning really means, bro. Fuck.
Yes.
Ooh, boy, some motherfuckers out there, man. And I'm not saying there aren't some people like that, but I'm saying the majority of gamers are not like that. But there probably are some assholes that are,
Did anybody here see Twisters?
No.
The new one?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So then maybe you heard the big controversy was about this. It's like, right, there's a girl, right? She's the main person there, and then she has this guy that comes along, and you're like, oh, they're gonna get together, right? They don't get together. Then at the very end, you're like, oh, they're at the airport. They're gonna do a kiss. They don't kiss. No kissing. Nothing ever happens in this movie. People are up in arms. What the heck? This is supposed to be like, they get together, they save each other. Where's the big embrace? Yes, there was an attraction. Yes, there was an interest, but they never hooked up. And people flipped the fuck out because they were like, this is wrong. It's like, people have expectations. Again. So,
for sure.
Yeah, because they don't go to movies for disappointing reality. That's not how shit happens in the real world. I have to live in the real world.
You get a high five at the airport. Arthur, we're gonna hook up. Oh no, we had our moment, but this is it. Peace.
Right, yeah, no, that was trauma bonding. I got a boyfriend at home. Okay, bye.
Exactly.
That's funny, Ben. All right, let's move on, man. Just away from controversy. Let's get to more fun stuff.
Hold on.
Oh, what's up,
Brian? Say some things.
And Brian's gonna keep it real.
Brian has things to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Has stuff to say. So I can have go back slightly to like what I think the issue is with The Witcher 4. Again, this is coming from someone who loves Witcher 3, thinks it's great, and I enjoyed the part where you played a Ciri in The Witcher 3. I thought it was fun. From what I've seen, there's a big part of people that are disappointed. Well, I say disappointed. I hate the fact that they've changed the lore of The Witcher into making Ciri into a Witcher, because she never was a Witcher in the start. Again, that's part of the lore. So to become a Witcher, you need to go through the trial. And the issue is that, again, according to the books, and Tony, I can probably hear your eyes rolling from here. Yeah. According to the books, the law is that only men, or boys, I guess, can go through the trial, and only a certain low percentage of boys can become witches, because lots of them die a very horrible death. And Ciri just isn't capable of doing that for obvious reasons. I mean, in The Witcher 3, I think they say she's around the late teens, early 20s age. And this is something that you can only go through before puberty because of law reasons. So there's a big contingency of people that are just very upset that they managed to cram in Witcher Ciri into becoming a thing, even though it's not possible for that to happen. And people are upset, and I've not seen anyone address that in any way, shape, or form, apart from the aforementioned ad hominems of "you're just a gooner," "why do you hate women," etc., etc. And if those issues aren't being addressed, then that just furthers the divide between both factions.
That's a great point. And that happens a lot, Brian, where people explain the lore reasons for some of these changes. Oh no, you're just a ist, you know? It's like,
well, okay. So a problem that, and this is a problematic response. I don't agree with this response, but the response they'll come back at you with is like, it's a fantasy world. You're the writer.
Fantasy, yeah.
You can change it. If you wrote it, you can change it. And the problem that they don't understand there is like, if you as an author create your own rule, the rules of your own world, and then negate those rules, you invite the ire of your own audience. Audiences hate being told the rule is one thing, and then at the end, it's conveniently not the rule. That's like a deus ex machina of an ending, and it's fucking bullshit. You're treating your audience like you're stupid. So, like, sticking to your guns and staying true to your own source material, like from earlier books and your own lore, I think is important, and a lot of people get a little pissy if you change from it. So, like, yeah, the response from your average internet armchair warrior is going to be like, well, it's fantasy, you can change it. To which I say, not without kind of undermining everything else that you've spent your time building.
Yeah, hey, Brian, got a comment for you. Don't forget that Ciri is overpowered as shit with that elder blood. So
I was about to say, yeah, with that as well, it just makes Ciri incredibly powerful. Again, in The Witcher 3, she was already really powerful. I mean, she could teleport, and that makes her again. That's literally the plot of The Witcher 3. The Wild Hunt is after Ciri because she has those abilities. Like she's literally that powerful. Like when she's that age. So to do this is kind of weirdly undoing it. And the other slight issue that I have, and this is something that I notice more and more with games, and I really first noticed it with Infamous Second Son, is if you make a sequel to a game that allows you to make your own choices, you practically have to canonize an ending.
Yeah.
And question then becomes, what happened to the alternative endings? Do they not exist anymore, or what? You know, and that really bothers me now with The Witcher, because all these other endings that I had with Witcher 3, some of them don't exist really, and it kind of weirdly voids out the choices of that game. Because if you're saying, okay, I made a choice in The Witcher 3, certain events happened, people died, but yet they're back in Witcher 4, or they lived in between the two games and they did something, then it means that that experience I had doesn't exist, and that's really strange to me. Again, going back to Infamous Second Son, I loved Infamous 1 and 2, and Second Son kind of weirdly can't happen depending on the endings. So it's kind of like, how does this make sense? You know, how are you squaring the circle? And it just seems to be they just ignore it and move on. So then you lose a bunch of other lore, and the whole thing becomes extremely messy, extremely fast, and I'm starting to not like that now. So that's the other point. Again, no one seems to have addressed that side because people are very much discussing the other parts. Well, I say discussing. They're yelling at each other for the other parts. And it's
They're
just
talking at each other. They're not really conversation.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, I wanted to move on, but I got to address this because Jay Shep replied to Kishak's last comment. He says, logic is thrown out the window, bro. Are you trying to say we haven't been logical? I think we've presented our case pretty well so far tonight, especially Brian, who has actually played the game. But, you know, I'm just saying we didn't accuse you guys of being illogical, so a little unfair there, but, you know, it's okay.
Again, like even pushing back on what Brett said, I actually, again, going back to when we first knew that the next Witch game was going to be based on Ciri, which was like last year or the year prior, I actually said I don't mind them like doing this because Geralt's story pretty much ended. Again, he's not dead as far as I remember. He's just
going to be in
retired.
the next game, they said.
I actually almost made a question on that, which I'll ask towards the end, and I'll make Tony laugh.
Yeah.
And basically, I was like, okay, you know what? I don't mind a Ciri game because again, I think she's a great character. She's really powerful. She has her own set of skills. And I was like, okay, if they're going to do like a Witcher follow-on where they switch the main character because the main character has retired, that makes sense to me. Because again, times change, people get old, people move on, there's new generations. So I had assumed the whole idea was like Witcher 4 series trying to like reestablish the Witcher ways. Maybe trying to modernize them so that they don't fail as often or they don't traumatize the kids as often, etc., etc. But the idea is she's trying to restart the whole idea of witches, but in a world where things are slightly more positive towards them. That was my assumption. And now seeing what's going on, and in the trailer, it seems it's practically certain that that's not going to happen. I didn't see any hints of that at all. And it kind of just seems like they said, okay, you know what, we need more Witcher stories. Let's just swap out the protagonist and keep the ball going. And I don't like that. I think it's very lazy, and it's not going to lead to as quality story writing as there was in The Witcher 3.
I got to read this last comment, then we'll move on. It's hilarious. Kid Shack. Geralt is living out his life on his vineyard and plowing either Yen or Triss. Let him live out his retirement. Oh, man. That sounds like a good life right there. All right, moving on. Another question from Mr. Kid Shack. With Astrobot winning Game of the Year at the Game Awards, will this greenlight even more platformers from PlayStation, or just allow Team Asobi to continue to do what they want from now on? Yeah, you're not going to suddenly get more platformers from Naughty Dog or, it's Insomniac or whatever. Like,
no.
Team Asobi's going to be allowed to do what they're going to do, and that's it. Here's the thing. Even though Astrobot, was obviously received very well, winning Game of the Year, it didn't sell gangbusters. So you're not going to suddenly see a shift within PlayStation to make every game like that,
But the thing about it is that it was a lower budgeted game and it was a smaller team, and that's the success.
Yeah,
they obviously didn't sell as much as the Horizon Zero Dawn, but it most definitely sold enough to cover its budget.
Yeah, it was a success, but I'm just saying the game didn't sell enough where they're going to go, we need to do every game like this. That's what that's what the question's about. Understand?
Yeah, but the thing about it is that's not what Asobi or Japan Studio was for.
Yeah, but that's what the question was.
It was always about them filling in the spaces with these lower budgeted titles. Essentially, what the former president of Sony was saying, of PlayStation was saying. So is every game going to be it? No, it's not going to do that. They're not going to be making a bunch of platformers, but I think in this situation, it'll just allow them to do more games, like as Sony said. Yeah,
pretty much. A certain Air Force goes, Astrobot will be a new franchise. No, it's actually not a new franchise. It's been around for a little bit, actually. Manny, what was the first Astrobot game? It was a VR game, wasn't it, at first?
It's been around for over 10 years.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time, so it's not a new franchise.
The earlier versions of the games were on PlayStation VR. So there's there's at least 4 other games before this one.
Yep.
So it's not new.
Yeah, it's not new. Yeah.
And in fact, the VR game, the VR game that introduced the platforming is pretty much the groundwork for Astro's Playroom, which they just took out the VR part of it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, another one from Illustrated Dio. What games will you heavily invest in, time in during the first half of 2025? So far, my games will be Monster Hunter Wilds and Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. Yeah, same for me. Monster Hunter Wilds comes, that's it, bro. Like, that's going to be the only game I play for a chunk of the year. So, and I think I can say that for a few of the guys on the panel, including Manny. We'll all be playing it. It'll be good stuff. Definitely looking forward to Fatal Fury. So I've been, not to go off track, been playing a lot of King of Fighters lately. Just basically learning not to play it like Street Fighter, because it has its own mechanics and they're really fun.
Like especially years ago when I was playing those games, it's hard to sort of get around your headspace of the down forward, because a lot
down
of
forward and then
the
half circle. Yeah.
yeah, in there it's a little bit more difficult. It's like down forward half circle of actions, and those ended up being quite difficult back in the day.
Yeah, and there's other things like you could do evasion, do Manny the hop, and Manny. I was thinking about again. I don't want to go too crazy. We have so many questions, but I just realized the reason we didn't play a lot of those games because there was a lot of those games, not King of Fighters, but like SNK games on Super Nintendo. But money, we could only have a second game. Are you going to pick Fatal Fury? Or are you going to pick Street Fighter? We picked that, then we just rent a Fatal Fury, and then you know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about for me, yeah.
I mean, me and my brother used to end up playing a lot of those. Like we would always rent those fighting game titles. So we played like World Heroes and
World Heroes. I played all those,
and,
but King of Fighters, apparently the first couple of them they came out only in Japan on the Saturn, and I didn't really rent those. But anyway, not to go off track.
Those I played in the arcade.
Yeah, arcades. Yeah, that's what it was because even though we went to the arcades, we mostly played at home. Anyway, so those are what I'm looking forward to. What about the rest of you guys? What games do you think you're going to be playing a lot in the first half of 2025?
I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be continuing over from this year. So that's going to be completing Slitterhead, going to Stellar Blade, and then playing Wukong after that.
Wukong?
Yeah, Wukong. So yeah, me losing my PlayStation in May kind of set me back a little bit, and then also just doing the work and stuff just to sort of slowed things down. But I don't, I'm not like that type of person that is like, I'm playing an old game. So, but obviously, and then I guess I'll definitely playing the Monster Hunter game. I haven't bought a fighting game in a while. I like the Guilty Gear franchise, but I still haven't bought the last one.
Oh, Strife.
I have, I haven't bought that one. I have Exard, and I've sort of moved away from like games like Tekken and a lot of those other ones.
All right, I'll go down the line here. Carlos, what games do you expect to be playing heavily during the first half of 2025?
Monster Hunter for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Probably the Elden Ring beta. When that comes out, they said February, late February.
Shit, excuse me.
Yeah, so we'll be able to test it before it comes out, which makes me think that game's definitely going to come out in 2025. Yeah. And it's from Software. They're usually not the worst of offenders when it comes to delays.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two, and then probably a game that I missed out from this year, probably like an Indiana Jones or something. Probably Balatro, but I'll be doing a lot of real life Balatro when I get to Vegas. So
yeah, play Indiana Jones, Carlos. You'll like it. It's fun. You'll like it.
I'll probably give it a try. And it's a short game, so nothing that's too time consuming.
Yo, Carlos, you know what I like about, among many things I like about you, it's easy to recommend games to you because you like the same shit I do.
Yeah, we're two peas in a pod when it comes to gaming, man.
Pretty much. All right, Adam, what about you? What games do you think you'll be playing a lot in the first half of 2025?
Oh, it usually works for the rollovers. Still more FC, still more NBA. Yeah. This time I'll keep working with Indiana Jones because I still have to finish that one up. Never finished Doom Eternal. I've been playing that.
Oh, you gotta finish that, brother. It's good.
I forgot where I'm like halfway or maybe more. I don't know. It just like blends into the next of the next of the next. I'm like, all right. But yeah, I have fun with that one. And
it's a great series.
Yeah, series, exactly right. Whatever does drop, I mean, usually that first half we get the latest WWE game, so I'm assuming that'll be out by then, but who knows? And a lot of new stuff doesn't really have dates or set dates, so I can't really say. But those are the ones are my go-to that I always roll over year after year because those are my sport titles and I keep playing in there. Technically, those leagues are still on and I follow them, so I play them.
Adam.
Yo,
There is another game you're missing.
but no.
I thought you were going to play the infamous Failguard.
Oh, what?
That's a rich joke.
Yeah, that was
definitely
that was
is
perfect.
a
Yeah.
ritual. God, all right, but
I have something controversial to say. Adam will be playing the Failguard during 2025.
Oh God, right? There we go. We will
man.
see, but that's it. And then whenever I go to cover the review and stuff, but I have my set games that I stick with that I enjoy playing, and they make me happy. Right?
There you go, man. It's all about making you happy, you know?
That's it. And then that sometimes if I want to go back and play something old to finish that I haven't, then I just do it. You know, I don't need to have a reason. I know so many people that like, oh, why are you doing that? You should be playing this. Like, you're not the boss of me.
Well,
you don't tell me what I should be doing. I can do whatever I want. You know, it's like if I feel like playing this, because that's it. I don't need to fucking live stream it to show off that I'm playing an old shit. It's like, this is my own. Yeah, it's like this is my own freedom. That's what I like to play. So.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Brett, what about you? What do you expect to play a lot during the first half of 2025?
Fuck.
Just say Monster Hunter.
Oh, I am going to play Monster Hunter. They should be finishing up Valheim in that time frame, so probably a good chunk of Valheim. Definitely loving Path of Exile. I'm not sure if it's going to be 6 months or a year till we get that. So I'll definitely be playing that for a little while. I'm done with Diablo. Straight up. I'm also... I'm cautiously optimistic about Avowed, less so after some recent shit that I've heard, but still, you know, like, all right, I'm like Obsidian, like, all right. And Adamfall. I'm really excited for Adamfall. I remember getting really excited the first time I saw it, forgetting about it completely until it popped back up on my radar about a month ago, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's coming out in like March.
You look this shit up. Adamfall. I think vaguely sounds familiar. Is that the same?
Adam, why you?
Adam, where you falling, Adam?
No, where you falling? It sounds like an Adam story.
It's the game that looked like Fallout but wasn't Fallout.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, cool. And of course, last but certainly not least, Brian, what do you expect to play a lot in the first half of 2025? Mr. Manjoma. Uh-oh.
He's playing the sleep game.
Yeah, there he is. He's coming.
I was on mute. Apart from the obvious, I don't think there's anything I expect to play a lot of. Just a few things. Depending on how bad Shadows is, I really want to try it out. It's always that morbid curiosity of like, okay, let's see how bad this really is, you know?
Yeah.
That's why. Not any other reason, honestly. And yeah, I don't think there's anything that I'll be playing that often, to be fair. Again, because once Monster Hunter drops, everything else will ironically drop.
Yes.
Well, sorry, will be dropped.
And I wonder, like,
wait, I do have one.
Another one.
Before I forget,
all right, go ahead.
Spider-Man 2 on
Steam. You haven't played it? On Steam. That's right. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, because that drops in January. So,
yeah. Yo, Carlos, you think we'll be taking the Manjoma tours? He's going to be showing us how to play that game, you know?
I'm pretty sure that Brian's already been thoroughly investigating all the ins and outs of the new Monster Hunter Wild, so I'm sure we wouldn't be disappointed with the Manjoma tours.
Yeah, it's going to be good, man. All right, let's move on. We got a couple questions from one of our biggest fans. He's been with us since the beginning, Mr. Eurocar9. Great guy.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought you weren't having any insert questions.
No, this is an actual legit question. This is not a sponsored question.
Eurocar, you're not sponsoring
questions. No sponsored questions, man.
Greedy motherfucker.
You know? And this question is making me skeptical a little bit, or actually not skeptical, nervous. Let's get into it. What are your thoughts on What are your thoughts on the Elden Ring Nightreign announcement? Are there any concerns with it being a roguelike? Now, I didn't know this prior to this question. I thought it was going to be a co-op game, go in there, kill some motherfucking monsters. But if it's a roguelike where it's like random shit,
so here's how it works.
Explain.
There are multiple versions of the world, and and each version of the world has a 15-minute cycle for you to get to the boss with whatever with your party. So there's a bit of multiple types in there. There's a bit of a Fortnite sort of battle royale thing where essentially the world is essentially closing in on you. There is a bit of the randomized element as to what version of the world you'll get. There's also a few other things. I would suggest looking at the YouTuber Vati Vidya.
Okay.
To sort of, because he goes through every single element. I'm probably doing a really bad job of explaining what it is, but I don't know. To me, it looks like Elden Night to me. Essentially, Fortnite and Elden Ring combined. But I could, again, Chris seems to be excited about it, and I showed him.
Does Chris know this shit?
Yeah, I showed him the video, and he says he still wants to play it. So,
hold on. I'll check out that video. So, shrinking level like Fortnite, time limit, and randomly generated worlds.
Yes.
I don't know what randomly generated in the sense the enemies and stuff like that are random, and then you get
the world. Literally, the world looks utterly different.
So like the Crucible.
Yeah, so it changes every single time that you get. So if you go in there, you could get one world that looks a specific way, or it looks totally different.
Oh, okay, yeah. In that sense, yeah.
Yes.
Like that.
All right, so now knowing this information, Carlos, for no reason whatsoever, you could go first, even though I kind of already went. What do you think?
So, man, it's I'm torn. I'm really torn because when we first saw the announcement, we were hyped as hell. I mean, this is Elden Ring, one of the best games of the last couple of years. Shadow the Earth Tree, one of the best DLCs in the last couple of years. So, From Software and Miyazaki are coming up with another Elden Ring DLC. Well, it turns out it's not a DLC; it's a standalone game. It's like you look at the trailer and it's like, wow, the characters are moving faster and things are just looking a little bit different. So I knew this is a different type of game. And then I saw the same video that Manny saw. I didn't complete it. And actually, funny enough, going back to Tony, what Tony mentions every week now, Maximilian Dude reacted to that video that Manny talked about. So I watched his video.
Manny Vati Vidya, is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vati Vidya. Yeah.
All right. I'll
He's the From Software lore guy. So anytime they do any,
all right, let me subscribe to him to give him some love. Oh,
Vati's fucking awesome.
Okay, yeah, okay. Really that's two big endorsements. There you go. All right, I subscribe to him now. I'll check that out. Yeah. So Carlos, I'm a little concerned right now.
Yeah, I'm concerned. It's just not Elden Ring. It's not even a Souls game.
It's
anymore,
Elden Ring in name.
It's a spin-off.
It's a spin. It's the Fallout 76 of this.
Definitely, it definitely has aspect. Oh, and the other thing, there are enemies from Dark Souls that show up in it too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is fucking with the lore people. They're like, what the fuck's going on here? I thought this was a different world. Anyway, so yeah, some of the enemies or some of the bosses that you'll encounter in there will be ones from Dark Souls.
This game, I mean, there's a world where this game can be made to be really good, and maybe From Software is the development team to do this. But deviating from the path that I know and love is really tough.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'm not gonna be someone with my my hands crossed and be like, well, I'm not gonna play this game or this game's trash. But I'm definitely more skeptical than I was at the time that it was announced.
Yeah, same here. This is very disappointing. I mean, again, I'll have to watch more stuff, read about it, because it is from software, right? So they do have a benefit of the doubt in that regard. So I can't completely dismiss it, but I am concerned now.
And to give From Software credit, I mean, when they've done spin-offs like Armored Core and not spin-offs in the sense of like when they do games other than Soulsborne games, like Sekiro and Armored Core, they're still really good games. So they're definitely not a developer that's to take lightly.
Yeah, Brett, what do you say, man?
I mean, this is, I think, the place where I put my my money where my mouth is, in the sense that, like, look, I feel confident from Soft. Sekiro was probably my least favorite of their endeavors, and they've changed gears on me a couple of times. I've been there since Dark Souls 1. Other people have been around way longer than that. So the fact that this is a spin-off kind of makes me feel like, this isn't replacing a mainline project that they're doing. They have been getting enough success that they've been wanting to kind of like grow and expand. And if this is one of the ways in which they want to do it, I say kind of more power to them. We're just getting more at the end of the day. This isn't instead of, this is in addition to. And in addition to always feels pretty good to me. But worst case scenario, it doesn't hit and we move on. I haven't known From Software to like make bad games, but I also haven't known them to be disingenuous or predatory or any kind of just non-transparent with their customers. They seem to be, pretty genuine, wanna please their customer base, and this is them, kind of experimenting. And if this is what they Elden Ring was the first time that this was an open world thing. A lot of people thought that might be a bad idea. So I'm just kind of a mindset of like, let them cook. We'll see how it goes. And if this is being spread out to a side project where they can kind of test some ideas and bring those back into the game, even better. Because like it feels like a lot of this might be also testing some net code or some ideas that might be baked into permanent multiplayer in the next Souls Rings like. And I'm really excited about that because for those of you that don't know, they did a continuous multiplayer mod for Elden Ring that was wildly successful.
The PC version?
Yeah. And Miyazaki was like, I didn't even know that was a thing that people were clamoring for. And so this kind of feels like a half step in that direction. Like, all right, like let's kind of see how well we can actually make this work without kind of building a ton of new assets and doing something that our fans may like, or if it's a little different, that's fine. We're still doing this next new project that's coming up instead. So, I'm excited. Anytime I get more Souls like anything, it's always a good time. And this, there's a lot I'm hesitant about it. From what I understand, first of all, I think you're picking one of 8 different characters. So I don't know if you can make and customize your own character. Or I don't know if you can make your own character.
You have archetypes. So
okay, so it's the same as it is in the game.
Yeah, you have archetypes, but you're locked into that archetype. So
okay,
you choose the knight. You're always the knight, and you can the knight will always look the same, stuff like that.
I did hear that you can customize it, so that's
you customize it. You customize them by item drops.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a departure, but it might be a fun departure. And if anybody can pull off, pull together all these kind of discongruent elements, maybe it is them. So we'll see.
What I'm hoping for, and this is would be my best case scenario, is this is a Soulsborne version of Monster Hunter.
I think that's what it sounds like.
I think that I don't know, Brett, because
it's Dark Souls boss rush mode.
Yeah, but with the random roguelike stuff, you know?
mean, that's what do you mean? I mean, that's kind of. I where did you hear roguelike?
I should ask Eurocar 9 because that's the question says. I'm not saying that. I'm just finding this shit out right now, you know?
This was I think in the press release. Well, let me check. I'll check real quick.
It has survival elements in it too.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, as far as like this, it almost sounded to me like was the survival of the fittest or battle royale. It almost has like a battle royale vibe to it.
Yeah,
it's like a co-op battle royale. In other words, it's not you versus other players. It's you versus essentially the world. It's pretty much in a mad dash to get to the boss.
Yeah, and the arena shrinks in on the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So like it locks you into a boss battle. So it's basically, you know, like again, like these might be solutions to problems we haven't thought about. Like, so they're like, okay, so you could run out and do whatever. How do we make sure people go to the boss area? Well, we can teleport them there, or we can like have it be part of the game that you have to get there. You know, the world is closing off, so like you have to rush to get there without dying. So, you know, to me that makes kind of sense. So, like, if they're just want to do like multiplayer Dark Souls boss rush mode in the vein of kind of Monster Hunter. Like, we got to find, the boss is going to be in a different place in a randomly generated world each time, and you got to find them and defeat them in the time limit. Like, yeah, that just sounds like Monster Hunter. And I would imagine
it's also a little Chalice dungeon-y too. The Chalice dungeons were essentially roguelike locations where the places would constantly change depending on the room that you went.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
had familiar elements. So.
And that people love the Chalice dungeon. Like, a lot of this sounds like it was born out of the Chalice dungeon. And they're like, okay, so we, that creates these issues that we're going to have. Like, how do we make sure everybody gets to the Chalice dungeon boss? And then, they've taken some inspiration from some newer games like Battle Royale to kind of solve those problems. It's such a weird mix. It's like when somebody told me, it's like when I heard about a peanut butter and bacon sandwich. I'm like, that's just weird enough that I bet it's delicious. You know what I mean? And, like, there's just a bunch of weird enough random elements in this, and I'm like, that might actually just work. Like, and maybe I'm just being a weirdly bit racist here, but like, it seems much more likely to me that they would follow in the footsteps of the wildly successful Japanese hit Monster Hunter than, say, like Fortnite.
Yeah, I want to read. I want to read this real quick. This is from one of the developers. Initially, when we set out to make Nightreign, we wanted to create what we're calling a condensed RPG experience. We wanted to take all those elements from Elden Ring that players enjoyed, like the exploration, the building of the character, fighting tough bosses, the sense of discovery, and condense that into a shorter, tighter play session. See, that sounds better to me.
Yeah, it's they're using a bunch of different elements, but we don't know how they're using them. So I guess
they're still funneling you though. It's not like, in other words, you do have the
because of the time limit.
Explore. Well, they say, at least from what they say, the worlds last for 15 minutes.
No. So, Manny, clarification on that. I think, if I remember correctly, it's 15 minutes for the cycle. Like, and there's like 3 cycles, like day and night cycle. It's 15 minutes, so you go from day to night in that.
Okay.
And I think it might be 3 cycles in total. Don't quote me on that. And we're roguelike. Going back to that, so there have been a couple of media members had hands-on with actually this game for 6 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. IGN's preview.
And most of them, and including PC Hardware, they all have roguelike on it.
Okay.
For example, PC Gamer says Elden Ring, Nightreign, hands-on, 6 hours with From Software's wild new co-op roguelike action RPG remix.
That's a lot of adjectives there.
Well, okay, I guess my question is, like, I'm curious if Monster Hunter will be coined roguelike, because I think it has a lot of those same elements that would coin it roguelike. Like, each time you're starting over, but you're starting out with new gear, right?
The environment's always the same, though. You don't get a different map every time. You don't get a randomized map.
Yeah.
To me, that's the big thing about roguelikes is, like, you always get a completely rearranged world. Monster Hunter isn't going to do that,
No, I think that you're correct in that. It'll be a different one. I think it'll be kind of the same idea, but they want to encourage that idea of exploration, which isn't going to happen if the worlds are always the same.
Yeah. So yeah,
but they've already tread that road with Chalice Dungeons, so they already know that their answer to that problem works.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we'll see. Another one from Eurocar9. Can someone ask Carlos for his vacation calendar so he can see when this game is dropping? Yeah, Carlos, what's up with your vacation? Because you always seem to go on vacation when a big release, a co-op release specifically, drops.
And they're always good when you're not there.
Oh shit, you're always the best.
Well, that's debatable. To answer the question, so we already have Monster Hunter coming out, right when I'm about to leave in March, right? Early March. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to come out during that time. I'm also leaving in May twice. I have 2 vacations in May. They're small ones, but still. And then I have another one planned for October. So look out for those months for potential release dates. We're still in 2024, so more vacations in 2025 can come to fruition. So be on the lookout.
Yeah. All right. Jay Shep says, because we got a bunch of questions from him, but he says we could drop some of them if it's getting too late. I don't know. I want to answer some of these. All right. So I'll stick to the juicy ones, Jay Shep. All right. First one. How do you let developers be themselves and speak their minds on social media without hurting the sales of their games? Simple. Shut the fuck up. You don't have to speak every single thing that's on your mind, bro. Yeah, Manny, I want you to go because you and I talk about this a lot.
There's something called professionalism,
yeah.
Right? You let certain things out, but you don't let everything out. Obviously, there's a lot of things that I can say on the social media, but at the same time, these sorts of things would damage, depending on certain hot takes that I have. These things can damage my career as an artist. So the simple answer to this thing about speaking your mind is don't say everything that's on your mind. Yep. Here's the thing. You heard what Tony just said. Me and him talk about this stuff. We all talk about this stuff. This stuff you don't see it. Hear.
You don't see it.
Call him up on the phone. If I have that hot take.
Yeah.
Or the guys, send them a text. That doesn't need those things don't need to be said in public.
I'll say this right now, Manny. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. No. Go ahead.
First and foremost, as far as your product, your thing that you're putting out in the world, you want to maximize your audience. This means staying away from any sort of controversial statements, saying any sort of weird, silly things that come to your mind. Not everything that's in your head does not need to make it onto social media.
Yeah,
because
it's that simple.
Because my thoughts are my own bullshit, and you working in the industry doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Yep.
Because people will always hold you accountable for the things that you say, if you say them in public.
Yeah, it's you're always going into the land of the public opinion when it comes to these things. I mean, Manny called me the other day telling me that he likes pineapple on pizza, but sorry to put that out there, Manny, but I'm with you guys. It's like
you don't need to say everything, bro. You don't need to say everything.
It's if things are really that important, and then you gotta be aware of the consequences. That's why I always said, like, for me on Throwdown, like I never tell people where I work or even how I look like.
Yeah, that's why you don't see this motherfucker.
I've always known this, like from the very beginning of the internet. You expose yourself, you're exposing yourself to a lot more than you think. And it is, at the end of the day, is it worth your livelihood? For some people, it is. For others, it's not. So if you're
in an ideal world, I would want nothing to do with social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
In an ideal world, but for the work that I'm in, promotion, getting more work, it's a necessary evil. But knowing this, you do need to keep a fair amount of tact on the things that you say.
Yeah, I'll say this, right? There are people that have known me in this industry. I'm not talking about like personal super friends or whatever. But relatively friendly people that I've known in the industry for years, right? I had one of them tell me like a while ago, it's like, yo, Tony, man, I've known you all this time. I don't even know what your politics are. That's by design. I don't talk about that shit publicly. It's like, here's the thing. If you are a developer, a writer, artist, whatever, you don't need to say, like Manny said, you don't need to say everything. People don't need to know. People come to you for the thing you're providing them. What do they come to my social media for? They want to hear my take on video games and comic books and nerdy shit. They don't need to hear my fucking thoughts on politics. Like, it's not necessary. They don't need to hear my thoughts on religion. Do I have thoughts on these things? Absolutely. Making sure no, because that's not part of, for lack of a better term, it's not part of the brand. And like you said, Manny, it could hurt the fucking brand. So there's no reason for you. Yeah. Go ahead.
You say some crazy stuff about Jesus, then all of a sudden you just lose a bunch of people. It's like, then they're not there for Jesus.
Yeah, the only thing, if I'm gonna be on social media talking about Jesus, because I'm talking about my cousin Jesus. Like that's it. That's all you're getting, man. So yeah, I don't understand why people feel the need to just get on social media and say something. And I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna call any names, but there have been several times where people have come to me. And they're like, oh, Tony, you have this platform. You should speak on greater issues. No, I fucking don't. No, I don't. What? Like, that's stupid. Why the fuck would I do that? And Jenna said, yeah, well, you have a platform. No, my platform is gaming and nerdy shit. Like, it's not politics. It's not fucking, world issues or whatever. So that doesn't make any fucking sense. And you know how many times I see that? I'm like, bro, stop it. I don't care what your thoughts are on this. Like, shut the fuck up,
Also, it's not like we're moving the wheel here. Like, social media is not even the real world. It's a subsection of humans with thoughts that are already predetermined at this point. Like, if you're throwing out an opinion on anything, you're gonna get blowback from the other side. And it's not like you're going to change any minds. And it's not like the discourse can even happen on these platforms to even do that kind of stuff. It's just you're either preaching to the choir or you're throwing mud at people, and that's pretty much what is in particular Twitter, because that's where a lot of it is. But yeah, it's if you're really like into politics and stuff, like there are those circles and you'll get to them. But if you're trying to talk about, like, if you're in the gaming space or you're in the movie space or whatever, like, people really just care about what you think about those things.
Yeah. I could go. So let's move on because we still got a lot of questions. But yeah, I could say more on this, but maybe for the AMAs, you never know.
Yeah, you can ask a little bit of that.
A last one from Jay Shep here. And these are leftover questions, and I'm sorry I didn't get to them last week. How much of the blame does PlayStation or Sony deserve for third-party games not living up to their pro-enhanced labels?
Well, I feel like I don't think they are to blame in general, because they don't make it a mandate.
Yeah. I think he's more talking about like the quality of some of the pro enhancements. Like if let's say a game has pro enhancements and they're not good, right? Like should Sony be blamed for that?
No, they shouldn't be blamed. The thing that they should be blamed for is if they didn't give the developer the proper means to implement those things.
Yeah, but I think in general, that's the point I want to make. Like, if Sony didn't tell the developer how to do it, then it's on them. But I think generally it's up to the developer. And did the developer ask Sony about whatever problem they may or may not be having? So yeah, I wouldn't blame them 100%. There could be some blame though. I don't want to say they're completely faultless, but I think it's more on the developer than anything. All right, Assyrian Air Force. What dormant Capcom IP should return? Now we have Onimusha. For me, it's between Asura's Wrath and Dino Crisis. Manny,
you already answered Brian's question.
Asura's Wrath. I'll answer for me and Manny. Darkstalkers. You know?
Yep, Darkstalkers.
Bring that
I
shit
answer
back.
for me and myself
Bring it
and
back.
Bionic Commando.
Bionic Commando, bring it back again.
I mean,
And for
those
Chris.
2D,
Chris.
Yeah, for Chris,
you know,
too.
coming back or just getting those goddamn Grin games to be running on modern fucking consoles.
Well, which games, Manny?
The Grin side scrollers.
Oh, which one are
from
those?
Bionic Commando.
Oh,
There was
okay.
two of them.
Gotcha. I didn't know about
Made
those.
by the company Grin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, getting those things onto the modern modern consoles. Those two, at least one of them is not even available. It's locked to PlayStation 3.
Yeah, and then the one that they had on PC doesn't even work on Steam Deck, and it's like,
So,
makes
yeah.
no sense.
So-
Like, what the hell are you doing?
I mean, they're also granted there might be. I think that studio is also gone, so that's also probably another thing too.
Yeah. What other?
Remember it was a big deal for Capcom. Remember they did the one with
those things.
our boy
those
Mike
two
Patton
games-
with the dreads and shit.
Well,
that,
no,
that wasn't
that
that
game
great.
literally-
That was not
that
great.
game
But
literally-
Oh no, those
Crashed
games
and burned.
bombed, dude. That game bombed. Yeah.
I know, but they tried. That's what I'm saying. It's like
the Mike Patton game, but no,
Yeah.
those 2D games, those did very.
Those
very
did well. Yes,
Yeah.
those did well.
They
But
just
the
keep it
3D
going
one,
with that.
yeah, the 3D one, not so much.
they need some help. But you know what? Let's revisit that. That was what 2010 or some shit. I think I was dating my wife at the time. I remember
2000, probably 2000. The first one came in 2009.
the one with the dreads. I'm talking about the dread one. No, the one with Mike
around
Patton.
2000. That's around 2009, 2010. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like 2010 around that time because I remember it was going. Anyway, it's been long enough. Come on now, you can revisit. We got new technology out there, new teams. Let's get that. Let's do that.
What's up?
We've gotten. I mean, I don't know if this is considered dormant, but it's a franchise that I'm surprised that they don't utilize as much. Is freaking Mega Man.
Yeah, the last Mega Man game was what 2018, 19?
17?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, it was 11. It's just like from our perspectives, when we grew up with the Super Nintendo and stuff like that, Mega Man was the freaking shit.
Yeah. And even going back a little bit further, NES, we got a Mega Man game every year. Bam, 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 bam. You know? And then after like 8, they just kind of stopped for a while. Then had 9 and 10. Then the only reason they even brought out 11 was because what's his face fumbled the ball with Mighty Number 9. You know,
Mighty Number 9.
That was the only reason that game exists. Yeah, so that's upsetting. It's like bring back motherfucking Mega Man, and Marvel's Capcom is kind of back. So because I would like a Marvel's Capcom 4. You know, that'd be good.
Excuse me.
But we'll see. All right, another one from Mr. Assyrian Air Force. Will the new Onimusha foster a return of old samurai and ninja IPs like Shinobi, Tenchu, Ninja Blade, etc.? If it's successful, maybe. You know, has to make money.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it. I mean, maybe the 3D games, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, to be honest, like Onimusha was not like a very actiony sort of game.
No, it wasn't.
It was an action game. You know,
I think the question might be better.
bit
Like, will the new Ninja Gaiden bring back those type of games? And the answer's still the same: if it makes money.
If it makes money, yeah.
If it makes money, you know.
And it's a 2D game.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the closest we had of that was that Mark of the Ninja. Remember that?
Yeah.
When that came out, and a lot of people was like, "Oh, this is that successor." This whole thing. Yeah, well, and it sort of moved the needle, but not really on the big scale.
There was also
remember Strider, man?
What was that?
Remember Strider 2014? That was a good one. You know.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then there was Yaiba, that was a piece of shit.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember that bullshit.
That's the one where we were hanging out with Kadeem Patterson.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
At E3. Yeah.
Dwayne, you know.
Playing with Dwayne Wayne.
Oh man, I remember that shit. All right, last 3 questions, people. Black Metal Gamer, what special guest characters would you like to see in the new Virtua Fighter game? I've been saying I want to see those Yakuza motherfuckers in there. You know.
Ryo
Hazuki, yeah.
Ryo Hazuki, from Shenmue.
Absolutely, that'd be so good.
He should be the first motherfucker that's.
I agree. Although it's probably going to be Yakuza guy because it's Yakuza Studio making the game. But
it'll
yeah.
probably be Kiryu or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Because the way seasons go in fighting games, it's like they kind of release like older characters first, and then they end the season with a big one. So this is gonna suck, but this is what they probably might do. The first version of Virtua Fighter 6 may not have the full cast, and then they're gonna start doling them out little by little. But then every end of the season, you get the big one. So I think it would be good if for season 1 you get Ryo Hazuki. That'd be good, yeah, because he is a Virtua Fighter. You know,
he's a Virtua Fighter. In fact, Shenmue was supposed to be Virtua Fighter RPG.
Yep,
that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and he literally has all of Akira's moveset.
Yep, and more on top of that. Yeah,
and more. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, and like you said, the Yakuza guys, that'd be good. What about you? Whoever cares about Virtua Fighter, what other characters do you want to see? Guest characters.
Going down from Gears of War. Let's get crazy.
That'd be crazy. No gun though, you know.
No gun.
No
roadie run. Have some martial arts background we didn't know about. It was like,
yeah.
He's badass.
He'll be a brawler, you know.
I thought you were gonna say A-Train. A-Train.
Right, A-Train. Why not anybody? Just bring everybody. Just sprinkle music. Yeah. Coltrane and everything.
C-Train.
Yeah.
The Coltrane, you know.
The Coltrane.
Yeah, he'll be a big brawler. Yeah, that'd be dope, man. All right.
Wait, what's up? I'm sorry. Snake Eyes. Let's say G.I. Joe. Let's bring in Snake Eyes.
Why not? Go crazy, right?
Yeah, right. That's it. He throws a blade on the ground and just like the sign language of I'll kick your ass,
It's a Japanese franchise, so you probably maybe a Japanese character?
Yeah. Although they're international enough, I guess, with the roster.
Oh, no.
With the roster and Virtua Fighter?
No, the roster in Virtua Fighter is international, but who they choose is not. You're not going to, like, you'll see all the goofy characters in Mortal Kombat. You'll see probably Snake Eyes in, like, a Mortal Kombat game if they allow that.
Yeah.
But that's not a Western character.
Well, think about it. Tekken, Japanese game, did have Negan, so...
Yeah, they did put Negan.
They did have Negan.
Nah, Tony. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep it Japanese. I would add Yasuke.
Yasuke. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody from Tekken should be in the game too.
I would. So here's the thing. I'm not. Obviously, I'm not nowhere near Tony's excitement with this because I'm not into this franchise. I think I played it like once maybe. So, but if you add like Majima and Kiryu and all these characters from Yakuza that I do know, I'm like, oh, this is enticing. So that might get me into the door.
You'll be right. And it's funny because in the current Virtua Fighter, they actually do have a pack where you could dress Akira up like Kiryu and stuff. The Yakuza pack. It'll be good. I think Yakuza's a given. It's made by the Yakuza studio,
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to embrace that for sure. All right, another one from Alpha Chuck. This one was funny. Originally, it's like, okay, Tony, let's hear it. I'm going to use one of my questions to let you rant about Virtua Fighter. I know you want to. I already did. But I'm going to use your question to ask another question. Answer another question. Is Virtua Fighter 5 Revo the best version of the game yet? Yes, absolutely. So I played the beta during the weekend. Basically, for you guys who don't know, Virtua Fighter 5, never been on Steam before. It's on Steam now. They're calling it Revo. It is good. Like, I'm not going to be able to go back to the PS4 version after this, man. The 4K visuals and the HDR, absolute game changers, man. Like it just pops off the screen. The game already looked good, but it was even better. And you can have it supports 120 hertz, refresh rate. The frame rate was locked at 60 and stuff. But there was no like VRR issues or whatever. Everything was nice and smooth. It's fantastic. The beta is over by the time you're hearing this podcast, but the game's gonna be dropping January 28th, I believe. And currently, here's the good thing: they're not even charging you an arm and leg. The game costs $20, but right now, and I believe for a little bit longer, it's $15. So buy the fucking game. Support Virtua Fighter.
So what are they gonna do about the other version?
Oh, that's already been updated.
Okay,
The
so
other
it's got
version just got the it didn't get a visual update. It got the rebalancing update.
okay.
So that's what they did, and
Does
it's
that
already
also
live.
have the? Does that also have the moves that have been replaced?
Yeah,
Too?
it has everything. Yeah. So and that's live right now. So you could actually check out. Like, let's just say you mainly want to play this on Steam, and you have a PlayStation. Check it out on PlayStation. You could see what the game's gonna play like. Oh, I also played online. The netcode silky smooth. I got my ass whooped a lot, but yeah, it was like no stuttering. Everything, roll back netcode, all that was great. So I definitely think it's the best version of this game, and it's just wet your whistle, for the real Virtua Fighter whenever the fuck that comes out, the sequel. And it's going to be at Evo Japan. Again, I was watching some matches from last year. Some high, when you watch high level Virtua Fighter guys, like players, it looks like a kung fu movie. Fucking awesome, All right, and the last question of the night, another one from Mr. Eurocar 9. My man's going in, another one.
Another one.
And Adam, this one's for you specifically, man. Very interesting. Question for Adam. Why is Fortnite the best game of the generation? It's a hell of a question there.
All right. This requires an hour-long answer. So thanks again, everybody.
That's it. You didn't get to see you later.
Tune out now.
Yeah.
If you're done, thanks for tuning in.
I'm actually going to go take a leak, but I'm still going to hear you. Go on.
Don't forget we do have...
The throwdown has become the Adam hour.
Yes, it's all yours, sir.
All right. So as you see, I'm not on camera because I'm under the weather. Feeling great. So my son, he's into Fortnite. And I know he's into Fortnite, but I never really watched him play. I never really cared for it. I used to watch Fortnite way back when it first launched, when it was actually something you had to pay for and stuff. And then I saw the changes when it started picking up PUBG and doing that whole thing, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. But that was it. Just like you guys, we see all the commercials, the ads everywhere, very colorful. I remember that movie Free Guy that came out, and that was really a big play on that. I remember watching that movie, and my son was like, oh, that's what I can do. Oh, I can do that. I thought it was more like Grand Theft Auto. That's what they were going to. It's like, no, turns out it was really like Fortnite. So anyway, I'm watching him play. He's like, all right, let me log into this thing. And this, I had brought it up before of what this type of game is that it's like an arcade. Once you sign in, it's not just the Battle Royale. There's the Lego, there's the racing, there's a gun game, a lot of modes that you would find in Call of Duty. There's all these other fun little side games that they have. There's a survival game that he likes to play. I mean, there's tons of stuff. And I'm like, okay. So he pulls up his friends list, but he's jumping. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody's talking. What are you playing? I'm playing this. I'm in this one. It's like, okay, we're going to meet up in this one. I'm jumping in this game. Okay. Then there's all these characters. Right now, I know that they had license deals with Marvel and all this stuff, but to see the extent that they let you modify. So best example, Messi is now in the game, right? So he played through, got the battle pass, got through it, got Messi. He put Wolverine claws on Messi. And I'm like, you're allowed to do that? He's like, yeah. They all come with different things. They come with, they're like toys. You can mix match. You can change the outfits. He put on a different outfit of some super armor from Iron Man on Messi, and put the claws on him and created a whole new loadout for him. I was like, I did not know that. So it's almost like toys, like action figures. Like you're getting them when you get these. And I was like, do they all come with these? And he's like, no, some of them, he's got the Transformers, a bunch of Transformers. They come with different things. And you can pick and choose and move things around and make your own character from all of this. And I was like, shoot, I did not know that. Because in a lot of games, especially when we played, we just talking about fighting games, we don't have that option. You can change the color stuff, but you can't take certain attire from one. You can't take Raiden's hat and put it on Sub-Zero, and then do that. You can't do that. It just doesn't work. But here it is. Do whatever you want. You have all these characters, all these things. It's like a little toy shop. And you're just playing around, having fun, doing all this stuff. They're jumping in, jumping out, switching things up. they're constantly getting that endorphin of unlocks. Honestly, that's something that was big in Call of Duty, right? That's what people liked. Where you see the numbers popping up from the headshots or whatever. That's present here. You at the end, you're getting all these loot crates, but it's like flashy. They're opening up with lights and bells, and I mean, you're all this color popping on the screen. And he's getting all these cool legendary items and blueprints, so that way he has to get certain materials. And how do you get those materials? Well, while you're playing in these open world games or any other game, you have a pickaxe and you can destroy items and destroy vehicles and things like that to get the materials you need to start building out your blueprints for your legendary items, your guns. And I'm watching him do this and play and just unlock stuff and jumping around and doing all this, and hours are going by. And I'm just like, wow, I see it. I see it now. For the longest, I was like, oh, this is just a battle royale. Yes, it's the first that really took off. It's colorful, makes sense. But no, it's an arcade. It's got all these other things. It's a toy store. This is, and this is something there's a guy I'm interviewing in a few weeks that is a big toy guy. And one of the things I'm going to bring up is that our generation, the older ones, I think we're a dying breed when it comes to not just collecting physicals, but even physical for toys, like real toy collecting, because the kids don't need to do that anymore. Their toys are digital. That from what I understand, and then he was able to trade with players, and I think they can still do that. So if let's say you purchase a character, it's not stuff that you can get in a battle pass, but if you purchase stuff, and let's say I want to give you that character, I can gift him to you. And vice versa. You can gift me stuff, and then now I have that figure, and then now I can take all the stuff off him in outfits and attires and switches. Like that's great. So now I see the appeal. And now I see it. Now I see why they spend hours around. So it's not just running and gunning. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're doing races, and they're talking, and they're building forts and trying to protect themselves against like a horde of zombies coming in. But it's all in this cutesy, very bright art style that it's not the type that'll just give fear, or not fear, but just that like a zombies in Call of Duty where they're not going for realism, but they're going for gruesome and all that crazy and the blood. You're not seeing that here. So it was really an eye opener, and then I was like, oh, I see it. I see the appeal, and I see how they are going to stay on top of their game for years to come because they have grabbed that generation. The generation, like when we were growing up, we had Mario, and when someone says, hey, what was your foundation? Well, what do you think about a game? I think of Mario games. That's what I built. Kids today are going to say Fortnite because they're going to say of all the other games that they played within Fortnite. Oh, best racing experience, boom, Fortnite. Best time hanging out with my buddies, partying and stuff, oh, that's Fortnite. That's it. Running and gunning or doing, now they have first-person shooters for some people. That's going to be their first introduction to first-person shooters, playing Fortnite. And if Fortnite sticks to their guns with what they're doing and constantly refreshing it all these seasons and bringing in all these IPs, because where else can I have Messi teaming up with John Wick, running around, shooting up all these other bad guys, and everybody's dressed up as other characters and doing emotes, and I got Snoop Dogg there in the game jumping around, and Eminem and all the it's a hodgepodge of everything pop culture. And it's perfectly fine, and everyone's cool with it, and no one's like, oh, I can't believe this is in here. It's expected. And if they keep that going, the sky's the limit. I can't see anyone else jumping in. I mean, he's got all the Ninja Turtles, all that stuff is there. It's like, just when I start thinking of things off, I'm like, oh, he's got this. Like, oh, man, you got some Marvel guys. Like, yeah, I got Doom with the cape and everything. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. This is happening. Spider-Man, running around with Spider-Man and John Wick and Messi and all these. How does this all come together? It's just, as a kid, I would have loved to have a game that would let me bring in all my favorite IPs into one. And here it is. So I mean,
the one thing about Fortnite, and that's why they had to readjust their the way they do these things, is catching catching these licenses is also very expensive.
Oh, this is not cheap. None of this is cheap. That's
none of, and the thing about it that's why they had to sort of reconfigure how they work with it, because it was actually costing their operating costs, and this was in their financials. Their operating costs for that game was incredibly was pretty hefty.
John Wick is about $30. Just to get the skin, you get a bunch of accessories, a bunch of different add-ons and weapons and this and this and that. And you can mix match and do all the stuff you want, and you can link it to others. But still, that's $30 for one character. But as he's running around, I see them.
Balance this, Adam.
They do it. People pay for it. People are paying. If they're paying for it, then that's it. That's the way I see it. I was like, shit. I'm like, are people actually using it? Yeah, they're doing it. Because you can see.
Are they even trying to balance it gameplay wise, or
gameplay?
Well, no, because
it's all cosmetic. It's all cosmetic.
It's all cosmetic. Yeah, like you don't get really any special like this.
Oh yeah. No.
Skills from that stuff.
You get it's just all for show. It looks cool as hell to see a guy coming around with the Wolverine claws just slicing and dicing, but it's the same damage as if he had a pickaxe and he was whacking you over the head with it. It's just all of it's cosmetics, and they always say it's cosmetics, but man, it's cool as cosmetics. And if you're into whatever character you're into, you're going to be like, all right, I'm going to jump into this. And then it'll tell you, not only does this character work for this mode, he works in the racing mode. So now you can drive around in your car as John Wick if you have a convertible, and you'll see him in the car. It's interesting and it's fun, and I get the appeal now. It's like, oh, all right, there's a lot going on in this game, and I could see why Sony and all the other companies that are trying to get a bite of this apple to jump in there, because like it's not fair that this one company has this dominance over this generation and has all these license deals and stuff. It's like, you know what? It's not, but they're already there. They're established. The kids are gonna go where their friends are. We've seen that with Call of Duty stuff. Hey, you're on PlayStation, you ready? They're not. We knew it. They weren't gonna jump to Xbox, and they didn't jump. They stay where they're at. And I think that's the way it is with Fortnite. I can't see. And the biggest part of all of this is that all these characters known as skins, it's like a collecting an item, a collecting item. Like people want to collect them, just like when we collect figures and stuff. And every season there's new sets, and everybody has to get them all. So whether it's to do stuff in a battle pass, or do certain global events, or private events, or timed exclusive events, you want that variant of that Kratos skin. You got to do this. You want whatever it is. It's like there's always something to keep you coming back for a reason. There's a Winterfest is coming. He has to log in at a certain time, and they're going to give certain drops. And if you're not there, you miss it, and it's done. And they're not going to bring them back later. And so not all these skins are on the store. A lot of stuff just disappears, and there's a secondary market where people are trying to sell these, or sell accounts that have a Wolverine or the original X-Men, the Venom, and stuff like that in there. It's the collecting part. And so he'll watch these videos of people that just show off their collections and start talking about trades. And sometimes they'll do a live chat. It's like, hey, I'm looking for so-and-so. You have this? All right, jump in here. So that way, as proof with everybody that you're going to trade with me. And then you see the person pop up on the camera, like, hey, I got this. Okay, here we go. Boop, 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 boop. And they trade, and they gift each other these skins to complete their collections. I was like, this is nuts. It's a whole other world, and I get it. And I was like, man, if you grow up with that, like he's 8 years old. If he keeps this up going into high school, this is going to be his childhood. This is it. When people like, well, for us, it would be Mario and Sonic and all that stuff. No. For this generation, it's going to be Fortnite, and if Fortnite's still going, it's always going to be Fortnite. So it's just amazing. So seeing that, I have a newfound respect for it, because I was like, all right, this is not what I thought it was. I thought it was just people running around in a battle royale with everything getting smaller and fighting and stuff. I didn't know about the trading aspect. I didn't know about all the details, all the details on all these characters, especially now, like on the PS5 and the Xbox and all that stuff. I mean, they're so detailed. It's not cheap. Nothing looks cheap. You see them running. You see their clothes, the cape waving and stuff. You see the shirt getting dirty. I was like, wow, this is detailed, very detailed. So I get it, I respect it, and I see why all these companies are chasing after it, but they're not going to catch them. Unless Fortnite, the company Epic, screws up big time. Because I was like, even these prices, some of these prices, like I said, it's like $30 for a John Wick. Some of the other ones, they're like, oh, it's on sale. It's like they do that scam of like, you can't buy it outright. You have to buy the V-Bucks, and the V-Bucks are always a little more than what the character. So let's say if a Spider-Man that they have is 1,500 V-Bucks. Well, you can't just get a 1,500 V-Bucks. You have to get the 1,800 V-Bucks. That's $22. So $22 plus tax, 24 change or whatever. That's what you're spending just to get Spider-Man. And then you'll have like a few hundred V-Bucks left over, but that's by design. So then that way you were like, oh, well, if I can get the $10 with this, maybe I can get something else, another skin if it's on sale. And then it just keeps going from there. But man, everything was, all these characters were like $20 and up just for one. And that's on par with Call of Duty, the operators, as they call it. Those are $20 packs as well. But you can't mix match. You can't mix match all your characters. You can't put Homelander shit on, one of your other guys. So that's next level. So I'm surprised that they were even allowed to do that just because of licensing and things. It's like, how would you get away with that? But I guess that's part of the deal. I was like, yeah, we're going to do this. Because, I remember when I first heard Spider-Man going to be in Fortnite, I'm like, God, that with a gun? He's running around shooting? Yeah, well, he has a special gun. And he does. He has a special looking gun. He has a special backpack with a drone that flies up. He's got all this craziness with him. I'm like, oh, okay. They really thought about this. So it's not just like dropping in a skin that looks like Spider-Man. Like, all right, go run out there and shoot. No, these are all detailed. So I can see it. I see it. And I think this is it. It's here to stay.
So my question to you is, are you going to start playing Fortnite now?
No, but I could see myself playing with him in this one called Save the World. And in Save the World, you build up a base, and then you have to hold it down for like 2 or 3 minutes while waves of monsters come at you. And I could see myself jumping in with him and doing that. I was like, you could build, and I'll just run and gun and shoot shit around. But the Battle Royale stuff, even when I was playing it in Warzone and on Call of Duty, it's fun for a while, but it doesn't really pull me in. But then again, that whole, he doesn't have the John Wick, but I saw John Wick, and that guy, even though it's all cosmetic, just he has his own animations. That's the other thing. So you see him like with his gunplay and shooting, and he's bending his head down just like in a movie, like the motion. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. If I was gonna run around and do it, I'm not paying $30 to do that shit with one guy. But I don't know if it was ever on sale or something like that. That might be fun to jump around in. But it's I don't know. Maybe I'm too late to it, but I could see like it's better. Even the second part of this, his friend comes over today. So early take, he's playing all this shit already on Fortnite. Like I said, I'm watching him play. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Friend comes over, brings his Switch. He's sitting on the couch on his Switch while my son is playing on a PS5. Right? And then they join up. They're like, all right, jump my party, jumps in. It's like, oh, so-and-so is on. He's jumping in. All right, boom, boom, boom. Now they're all in. He's playing with some other people online. He's got his buddy next to him playing on the Switch, and he's on the PS5. And they're in a group together playing Teams Deathmatch, doing some stuff. And then some other team mode that they were doing that was like a prop hunt type of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. And then that was it. When it was done, he was like, all right, gotta go, leave. That's it. He was sitting there looking at his screen the whole time while my son was looking at the TV, and it's just different. It's just things are different, but they were having fun. They were goofing about it, and then just trading things. Oh, I got this part. You need this. Yeah, all right. I'll send it to you. Here you go. Boom, boom, boom. All right.
Yeah,
it's a different
wild. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, this is going to be, your kid's generation version of, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, stuff like that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like physical stuff. And then whenever his friends come over and they talk about birthdays and Christmas, especially now, hey, what do you get? No one's asking for anything physical besides maybe a basketball or something like that. But when it comes to toys, no toys. It's all about electronics. I want a tablet. Maybe I want a new game console. Need some new controllers with my gaming headset. But I don't hear anything about like what we were going. It's like, yo, I need that new, G.I. Joe or Transformer or something like that. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's precisely why places like Hasbro are having so many issues these days, because our generation and a portion of the generation before us, the people, essentially the generation that was ruined by Reaganomics, is the reason why these places are losing money, and they think that they can start charging more money because of these because now they're seen as collectibles, even though they're not. It's the same garbage they've been selling for years. They're just now putting a higher price tag, and people weren't going for that. So, yeah. Once our generation is gone, the toy industry is probably going to go.
Yeah.
to shit.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't see it.
These kids are, they don't want Metroplex or shit like that,
No, they're
stuff's
not
done, man.
interested. Not interested. Like even with all the wrestling figures, remember my son, we used to play and all this stuff. It's all sitting in a drawer for him. He doesn't take any of them out. He just doesn't care about it anymore. He's like, we play that. Well, we got that wrestling, game. We'll play that. I don't want to have to take everything out of the drawer. I mean, like, he doesn't even want to touch them. So it's
definitely.
like, and then cartoons. That's the other part of it. There is no cartoons really. We used to have cartoons to tune in and watch these shows, but I don't see. There's nothing that him and his friends ever talk about watching any cartoons. It's all about just doing Fortnite stuff or those type of things. It doesn't exist. So usually or comics to sell.
There's nothing to really. There's no focus point when it comes to TV.
Yeah.
There
In
isn't.
other words, when you couldn't control what was on TV and those were the only options. And the thing is, a young guy like him, he's not going to go searching through fucking Netflix to find what he wants to see. Most people don't.
He's probably got YouTube channels over there he likes watching.
Oh yeah, no, that's it. It's all YouTube channels.
Exactly.
YouTube channels. I just watching
YouTube,
people
yep.
play. He prefers to do that. Like that's the thing. If he's home and he's playing on his Switch, Fortnite or something, he has one of his favorite streamers on talking about tips and tricks on how to do this and the best way to use this gear and best loadouts and all. That's his entertainment right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool, man. So yeah, now you know about Fortnite.
Now I respect it. That's it. I see it. I see why all these companies chasing and they never catch up unless Epic drops the ball, and I doubt it.
Yeah.
That's why when they were like, remember they were getting hit with the crunch.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, when Tony and I played Fortnite, it was still in the beginning stages of what it was, and it after that it just became everything. It's the everything game.
Yeah. What Chris calls the Applebee's of gaming.
Oh, man. If you're ever curious, just you don't have to play. Install it and just look at that menu. Just go through the menu and you're like, what the hell is all of there's so
It was like a Cheesecake Factory menu.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's almost. God damn, that menu's so long. That is too big of a menu. But it's just tons of stuff. And the crazy thing is that you can play with all your friends for all of them. I don't think there's a single player mode in there. Everything is like jump in, have people. It was even if you don't have any friends. He did one mission. It was like I had no friends. Like we have to invite somebody. He pressed the button and then it just populated with people. It's like, all right, let's go.
That's wild.
That's
man.
it.
Yeah, definitely a different generation right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Wrap it up. Thank you for that, Adam. That was epic as always. And speaking about epic, this show was epic. 3 hours.
Whoa.
That's how it is. But yeah, this is one of the last. Actually, this is the last normal question show. So we're going out in style. And speaking about last shows, we have our last 2 shows of the year coming up. So Thursday will be the big year-end special where each of us go through our favorite games of the year, discuss all the biggest gaming stories, talk about some of the disappointments, and also look forward to next year. So if you've been listening to the show, you already know the routine. So stay tuned for that. And then obviously Sunday will be the final show of 2024. That will be the AMA special where you can ask us anything non-gaming related. It could be about pop culture, personal finance, life, philosophy. Give it to us, bro. Let's go. Algebra, we'll help you with your homework.
Economy,
trigonometry. What?
Yeah, you'll talk about trigonometry.
How to put that shit together.
So we got you, man. That'll be another epic show. No limit on the amount of questions you could ask to go nuts. I don't have to work the next day, so go nuts. No, don't ask about politics. I'll say that. Don't ask about that shit.
No politics, no religion.
You hear that,
No
Black
politics, no
or
religion. Yeah. Don't ask us about that shit. We're not gonna do it.
Well, unless you're talking about Zeus.
Yeah, you can ask about like fun religious stuff, like the pharaohs.
Unless you're talking to a Greek who believes in all that shit. Oh,
like yeah, right. Hey, Spiro over there. He's bad.
they still have churches out there that still believe in those type of gods.
Oh, the pagan shit.
Yeah, I didn't think it was real until I told it was a few months ago. My buddy was like, send me a link. It was like a list of all the churches out there.
So your buddy Spiro or whatever.
It's like, nope. Yeah, remember they had Odyssey.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so there's that. Rich isn't here for the coalition, so I don't know if you guys want to plug anything.
I mean, we got tons of stuff. We're still doing a lot of our year-end reviews of stuff and gift guides and stuff like that. There's tons of stuff out there. And when I was trying to put some lists, and we have a few more that we want to get out there. Just try to streamline things and make things a little easier for people. Because I hate when people are like, oh, there's no games to play. There's a lot of games to play. It's just if you're willing to play them or you're looking for them. So that's it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so like I said, we'll be back on Thursday with the last normal show, the year-end special, and then AMA special on Sunday. Then we're going to take off for 2 weeks like we usually do. And then we're going to come back on the first full week of January. And unlike last year, I actually will be hosting that one because even though I will be coming back from CS, I'll be arriving at 6 o'clock. So plenty of time to do the show, and plenty of time to rest too. Vegas should be fun. I'm going to be meeting up with Torrance Davis out there,
Wow.
Mr. Davis again,
It's like, hey, Tony, how's it going?
Small aside, Manny, I've ran into a lot of people that we kind of met in the beginning of our careers who moved over to tech like me. I'm like, well, that's kind of fun. You're here now, just like me, Yep. And I'll tell you this, man, tech industry, a lot more mature than the gaming industry, man,
Oh, yeah.
A lot. But I could tell, so you want to ask me about that type of stuff? Do it during the AMAs. I may have stories for you,
Ask about the tech industry.
There you go. All right, guys, we're out here, so make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and join the Discord where the conversations, the rumors are always popping. And, of course, you can always find us on your favorite podcast app. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight, I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time. Star-Lord.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
Adam Vale.
Go watch some good TV, man. There's some good shows out there. The Agency, some good shows.
You saw about Asians?
Whoa. No, the Agency. Whoa. I just finished watching, what was it? The Day of the Jackal. Oh, man. Good ending. Real good ending.
Yeah. And, of course, Brian Manjoma.
How much do you want to bet that in The Witcher 4, Geralt gets beat to death with a cast iron pan?
Shoot. And then he gets and then he gets he gets graped afterwards by prison guards.
Who knows?
Oh, man. All right, guys, we'll see you on Thursday. Year-end special. Later.